Rock bottle on the track, boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Lady fresh, keep it real, and that's a fact. She gon' tell it like it is, that's just that on that. Yeah, that's just that on that. This the fresh perspective with Lady Fresh. Lady Fresh, keep it real, and that's a fact. She gon' tell it like it is, that's just that on that. Yeah, that's just that on that. Tune in every week, rockin' with Lady Fresh. This shit major. This shit major. This shit major. Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. All every day that I wake up. Gotta got the love for my haters. Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. Blew through a bag, nothing major. Nigga lifestyle high maintenance. Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. All every day that I wake up. Gotta got the love for my haters. Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. Blew through a bag, nothing major. Nigga lifestyle high maintenance. I'm hearing you stepping on the pavement. Spin down on the op in flavor. Cody came with the car like it's Taylor. Move through my city like the mayor. Versace cloth, that's a light linen. My neck and my wrist, that's a life sentence. What I got in the trunk, I can get the chair. Probably had them first if you seen a pair. Stepping new Balenci's. Yeah, be right here, 15 a pair. Probably fucked your bitch if you seen her there. Never beef over hoes, niggas seem to care. Buff song got me seeing clear. I'ma drop a bag, never drop a tear. Got the fully stashed and I'm out clear. I just checked the bag, that amount clear. Got your bitch getting nasty on camera. Throwing through that money like a scammer. Streets on lock, got a handle. All the water on me, no paddle. Bitch, you keep asking me to fuck. Had to tell the hoes I got standards. Bitch ass nigga, no manners. Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. All every day that I wake up. Gotta got the love for my haters. Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. Blew through a bag, nothing major. Nigga lifestyle high maintenance. Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. All every day that I wake up. Gotta got the love for my haters. Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. Blew through a bag, nothing major. Nigga lifestyle high maintenance.
You know I went big on big. Ain't gonna tell the folks what the fuck I did.
I ain't even tell him.
Couple niggas hating in the back. Fuck them niggas, but it is what it is.
Boy, I know what it is.
I was having paper back then. Wait for a nigga started having motion.
Wait for a nigga.
Shit got major on the way. They can have more mood in the ocean. These niggas way too friendly. These niggas must need a buddy. A bitch nigga gonna get ugly. Send them to the moon, need the fuck nigga tell me. Treat the scat pack like a bucket. Teach your little hoe how to suck it. Allie from Drado, I nut on her Fado. We finished, she know not to touch me. Bitch of the mayor, I'm having them flavors. Face you an order and meet me on favor. Boy, you a captain, this hoe going down. Eating dick in the back, you cannot save her. Minigun size is a pager. All my gun came with a laser. Hold on my name and you know the little game. Shit done got too major.
Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. All every day that I wake up. Gotta got the love for my haters. Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. Blew through a bag, nothing major. Nigga lifestyle high maintenance. Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. All every day that I wake up. Gotta got the love for my haters. Trip too strong, shit major. This shit major. Blew through a bag, nothing major. Nigga lifestyle high maintenance.
My family, my life, and I appreciate it.
Run them niggas, cut that back.
You know, like I said, I always try to express my appreciation, to everybody. It's a lot of
Fresh perspective, real empowerment, you better be respected. Lady Fresh on the motherfucking check-in. Weezy got her back, she stay protected. Just fresh perspective, real empowerment, you better be respected. This for the geniuses to get you through the night now. Not for the haters that they don't come outside.
Lady Fresh.
Hello, 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 everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Fresh Perspective. I'm your host, Lady Fresh. I just wanted to say thank you again for all the support. It's been really overwhelming how many people have been taking the time to share my live, to share the show on Instagram. I really appreciate all the love and support, you guys. It really means a whole lot to me. Um, so I wasn't gonna play a whole lot of music today. I really wanted to dive right into this. Today is it's a sad day. It's always a sad day whenever life is lost. Um, I'm sure you all are aware of the events that transpired in Uvalde, Texas on Tuesday. Another senseless shooting, school shooting, mass shooting. It's a really disgusting situation, and I just wanted to open up the panel today to a few people so that we can talk about it because it needs to be a conversation, especially if you have children. How to have that difficult conversation that school isn't safe. It's a reality that we're facing and have been facing for quite some time now. This is seemingly happening more frequently than it should. This is the second deadliest school shooting in U.S. history. And the United States actually has the highest rates of school shooting in the world. I think we're over 300. Most have like 10, 15, maybe, I think 40. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody else has statistics, but I know the United States is ranked at number one. This is the 30th school shooting in 2022. That's crazy. We're not even halfway through the year yet. And we're already experiencing um, double digit school shootings. This is the second behind the Sandy Hook tragedy that took place in 2012, where we lost 26 people, 20 children, and 6 faculty members. Um, the Uvalde tragedy, we lost 21 students and 2 faculty members. And this kind of touched me because these children are my daughter's age. I have a child that, as of today, she's now a third grader. Um, she just finished the second grade, and a lot of these children range from ages 7 and 8 up to 10, and the 2 faculty members that were lost. And it's just senseless, and it's really affecting me. And I'm gonna try not to cry today, y'all, because this is just it's too much. It's too much. And why is this happening? Are our gun laws too loose? They just made all these alterations to the law between September and December of 2021, where now you can conceal and carry pretty much freely as long as you don't have a felony, no bodily harm misdemeanors within a certain amount of time. It says 21 and over, and you can just get a gun and you can carry it even in areas where it's prohibited. And so I'm trying to understand how that makes things safer. I do understand we have the amendment, the Second Amendment, to protect ourselves and bear arms. However, the term gun safety to me is an oxymoron, because wherever there's a presence of a gun, it's never safe. It's always going to be danger. Either you are using it to harm someone, or you're using it to protect yourself from someone causing harm. So no matter what, anytime that a gun is in play, it's never safe. So does gun safety truly and really exist? And so I really, really want to talk about that today. I have a couple people that's going to hit the link and come up and just have an open discussion about this event and whether or not the gun laws are strict enough. I mean, I feel like it might be a little too loose now. Anybody can get a gun. And I'm all for protecting yourself, but where do we draw the line? How do we make it safe for our children? How do we sleep at night knowing that in the next day we could get a phone call that there's a shooting at the school? That's never okay. My daughter graduated from high school in
2020. And just a few weeks ago, back in February, the high school that she graduated from, seemingly safe. I moved to Kansas because, that particular area was safe. And there was a shooting right there at the school that my daughter graduated from less than 2 years ago. And so even though, my daughter wasn't there anymore, she still has friends there. It's still right down the street. My daughter is zoned to that school. My youngest daughter is zoned to that school. So this is a real topic that affects parents, and I want to talk about it. So before I start talking about Uvalde, I want to give some shout outs to some people I see in the chat. So, my Jen, thank you for tuning in, sweetheart. I know you're working. I appreciate you being here. Who else do I see? My boo, salute. Thank you for tuning in. Mills Lane, thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to hit the link. I would love to hear your perspective on some of this, especially when it comes to, whether or not you feel our gun laws are just, if they are keeping us safe, or is it causing more harm? Is it too loose? Again, I'm all for the right to bear arms. But I just think that we need to put a little bit more stipulation on that. We need to make sure it's safe for our kids. John Columinati, thank you for tuning in. Who else? Let's see. Queen Kels. Hey, Queen Kels. Thank you for tuning in. Lotus Flower Bomb. Salute, sis. Let's see. Let's see. My first panelist is here. I'm going to bring him up while I'm looking through this chat. Hey, Murph.
Gotcha. I was muted. Sorry.
It's okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate
Thank you for the offer. It meant a lot. I was just talking to Kels about that. She has a headache, so she's going to try to contribute some, but she just doesn't want to seem like she's not interested. She is, but headache. She gets migraines and things. So
no, listen. I'm a woman first. I totally understand, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. I really wanted to be able to balance the scales and get a male perspective as well as the fresh perspective, So, we're talking about Uvalde, Texas, which is just the most recent event that's happened.
I'm going to calm down for 1 second just to turn my phone. I don't want to get everyone dizzy.
He doesn't want to get everybody dizzy.
Yeah, I see the camera angle's a little wonky, so I'm going to turn it sideways. That should do it. Just have to readjust.
I don't know why I can't scroll my chat. This computer, I'm still learning it, and it does what it wants to do. Here we go. Bishop Grant Dude, Jay Savage has arrived. Salute to you, Jay Savage. Who else we got in here?
Okay, that's better.
Yes, that's much better.
I'm also going to calm down to smoke because I smoke, so I don't want to do that on camera. I will calm down for that. That's all.
Got you. So, like I said, we were talking about Uvalde, Texas, which happened on Tuesday. 21 children, 21 total, 19 children, 2 adults. And so what we know about the suspect, he was killed. He 18 years old, high school dropout. He had actually posted on Facebook through private message to a young lady that he had a connection with in Germany, Frankfurt, Germany, for a few weeks. I think they met around May 9th. So he messaged her around, I don't know, I think they said it was like 11 a.m. Central Time in Texas. He messaged her saying that, he was going to shoot his grandmother in the head. Or that he was going to shoot his grandmother. And then maybe about 6 minutes later, he texted her and said that he had shot his grandmother. And then about 12 minutes later, he sent her another message, which was the last message, and said, I'm about to shoot up an elementary school. So these messages were not posted on the public, like the Facebook page.
Like not on your wall in
Not on the
private
wall,
messages.
but it was a direct message between him and her. So apparently
Yeah.
Facebook didn't find out about it until after the shooting. Not quite sure if she got them in real time or not, because the time difference. But he proceeded at that point to go to his car. Now I'm getting conflicting reports. I'm not sure whether or not he was actually
Lots of those.
pursued by the police. This is what I've read several times with that. He was pursued by the police, that he crashed nearby the school, was in pursuit, and went into the school wearing tactical gear. Someone in the area called the police and said that they seen him entering the school dressed with the tactical gear and a rifle. Now, mind you, he just turned 18 in March. He purchased the first rifle March 17th, ammunition March 18th, and on the 20th purchased a second rifle. Now, 18 years old, and the Texas law says 21. But he ordered it online. So this is where I start wondering about the gun laws. So back to
I understand that. There's so much, I don't want to say misinformation because it's not that. Some of it is, sure, but I feel like the news needs to report when they know something. I feel like, this case, I'll call it a case, but this incident has been, I've heard everything. I've seen a report that the grandmother was dead. Now she's alive.
Right.
I seen a report he killed himself. He self-deleted. Then I seen a report that it was self-deletion by police. So there's so many different reports. Then I seen a report I literally seen this yesterday just to, put a bow on it. MSNBC had reported 14 injured. 1 hour later, 14 deceased. And to put that in 1 hour, you could have waited till you had that concrete info. I feel like there's so much of jumping the gun. We got so much. I mean, everyone thought the grandmother was deceased. They're saying she's alive. So, and I heard you said tactical gear. I also heard he had just a vest, one of the ones that would like carry extra clips.
Right.
Not so much like not body armor, just a piece of clothing. Now they're saying, he was in military garb.
Right. So
yeah, and as you said, did he crash? Did they ram him off the road? We heard 2 of those. And
so my question is, with everything that happened, if he was truly pursued by the police, the very first thing that should have happened when they got that 911 call, because he couldn't have got too far, that school should have been locked down.
I have my questions about that already. I mean, you said yes, it's a school. It's a school. Right. I mean, you just said you have a 3rd grader. My kids are high schoolers, and you have to have a presidential recommendation to get in the school. Like you have to push a button. They have a camera. Who are you? What do you want? So this is the one, like since Columbine, but surely since Sandy Hook, that these things have been in place. Metal detector, even in your rural communities. I mean, we don't live in the quote sticks, but this is rural. Metal detectors, you have to be buzzed to be let in. How did, I'm hearing he might have broken some glass, but I'm the same, why is that viable? How can that be possible? Let's take the glass out and concrete it. So we got to see, these things before they happen.
So I'm hearing that this is even more stuff. So once the phone call was made that they seen someone crash, police was pursuing, they didn't catch him outside. He went into the school where he got by an armed guard. So now I'm hearing that he somehow got by an armed guard, entered into one of those adjoining classrooms where, how you can go into another classroom from in. Right. So he went in and barricaded himself in and proceeded to open fire on the students.
And him being gone, as they're reporting, there's so many questions that will remain unanswered. Like Buffalo last week, there was a manifesto. So we could have known motive, things that just from that, we don't need the person. Like this guy, we're not hearing of that. And I mean, you're a high school kid. What made you go to the I don't want you to shoot anyone. Let me say that first. I don't want anyone But why wouldn't you go to the high school? I'm sure those high school kids gave you more problems than these kids in out.
Apparently, he had experience with bullying, supposedly because was not someone who had a lot of means. But he dropped out.
Yeah.
So that I do have that question. Like, he specifically targeted an elementary school.
Yes, exactly.
We'll never
They said
know.
there's 6 schools. There's 6 schools in the immediate area. Someone from that community in a comment section last night said that. I live here. There are 6 schools 5 minutes from each other. He didn't have to pick like, what made him do that, so to speak.
And he knew it because he messaged the girl, several minutes before that he was specifically going to go to an elementary school. So it makes you wonder, and we'll never know because he's gone. We'll never know what the reason was specifically.
And as a parent, I'm sick of hearing about warning signs after the fact.
Right.
I've heard a report today, a fellow classmate said he cut his face because he thought it would look cool. That's a crazy person. He's killing animals. Why are we finding this after he took these young lives? These warnings, the kid in Buffalo, I'm sure you've seen little things that go, granted, no one wants to turn on their own child, but I don't want my child killing 26 other or 21 in this incident, 21 children. It's insanity.
It's Kenzo, it's beyond insanity. Like, and that makes me wonder, I understand that it was a private message, but and, people don't want, it's a whole big thing. Mark Zuckerberg went to court about privacy on Facebook. But when does certain privacies become dangerous?
Exactly.
I feel
when
like
does it become you're contributing to the what's going on?
Right. Like somehow, even though it wasn't posted publicly, somehow that private message should have triggered something.
In the algorithm, I mean, they don't even have to have a person watch you on Facebook. You write a trigger word and the algorithm snatches it. So why don't we have that in the private message? I agree with that. Well, did this young lady call any authorities in America from Germany that we know of?
So I'm not quite sure if she called authorities, but I believe she heard about the event because it literally happened
in minutes.
Within minutes. So I give it 30 or so minutes because he sent one message of intent. Well, actually, he sent 2 messages of intent. He sent one saying that he was gonna do something to his
and one confirmation.
He said confirmation that he did it. And then very shortly after, he said he was en route to go to the school to shoot up an elementary. He was specific about
that's what I'm saying. Like he focused on that being the elementary.
Right. And so that's rather disturbing.
It is. It really is. And these kids, I'm going to call him kid because 18 is not an adult. I got a 19-year-old upstairs. So 18 is a kid. And these kids with mental issues, we're seeing these signs with Adam Lanza with Sandy Hook. We heard tons of stuff afterwards. You know what I mean? It's like, where are these voices before? We need these voices before. You need to look at your child and go, I love you, but that's not right. That's not how I raised you. That's not how a human, in a moral society, those things should be taken into consideration, even if it is your baby.
Absolutely. And
you have no right to steal 20.
What his relationship with his parents were. But
I agree because he lived with the grandparents. Exactly. Yep.
So I had just, started seeing that the grandfather mentioned something. He said
the grandfather said he had no clue that he had any of the weapons. He would have turned them in. And, at this point, you do start to doubt certain things, but you want to take him at his word as well. He didn't ask for none of this.
He didn't. It just, and now they're dealing with the grandmother struggling for her life.
Exactly.
And so, for me, the biggest thing is, how do we keep our kids safe at school?
I think this is very, I don't want to say confrontation, but it's a very explosive topic. People are very extreme on both sides. Just to put out a little bit of what I think just to say this, that I feel if the left if every move I'm a centrist, let me say that first. I'm a centrist. I'm not left or right. I think they're both wings to the same bird, just to be quick about it. But I think the left comes so aggressive with things sometimes that the right thinks you're coming for everything, and they don't want to hear nothing. It's sat on the desk for 2 years because we're scared you're coming for all the guns, you know. And I did want to bring up one thing I heard in the beginning. You were saying the Second Amendment about protection. A lot of people also forget that's for protection against tyrannical government, including your own. So while I say I don't think there should be AKs on the streets, as long as the government has them, citizens in America need them. I don't agree with it, but that's you know, it's kind of, we fight and die. People die for these freedoms. So I do take them very seriously.
Well, I totally agree. I think that we should have that right. I do.
Mhm.
I just think that the fact that they changed the law at the end of last year, I think they made
Yeah.
it too loose.
I agree. And this happened in Texas. It's like, you know, if we heard Florida, New York, California, we'd be like,
it's crazy.
if you heard about Portland, you'd be like, okay, these places, but we're hearing about the most Republican state where they say, you know, 90-year-old ladies carry a Magnum on their head.
The 90-year-old lady probably need it.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, if you
Listen,
look
I'm from Philly. I know you in Philly right now. You can't walk the streets without a gun. I mean, California, you're seeing smash and grabs. I think people think we're in the purge. I do. I believe people think we're in the purge.
we're knocking on that door, if you ask me.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
if the gun laws are going to be this loose, I mean, how much longer
I mean,
before we start to see remnants of the purge?
agreed. It's just, you know, we're asking our government to, we're asking to trust in a government we don't trust. So it's, how can we make common sense gun laws without them overstepping and taking, you know, trying to take everything as they've done before? You know, the Twin Towers went down. We lost half of our security in this. You know, I remember the 80s. You could tell a cop to go F themselves and they would just walk away. Now you might go to jail for that.
Might die for that.
You might die for that. Depending on your skin color, you may die for that.
Absolutely.
That's a fact.
Absolutely.
That's a fact.
You know, I just, at this point, you know, like I said, I agree that we should have that right to carry.
Mm-hmm.
But we gotta protect these babies. We gotta protect.
I think our solution is going to stand.
You said what?
I was just going to say quick. I think our solution will stand in better protecting the schools. I don't think taking anything away is going to help.
Yeah, I definitely don't think taking anything away, because that's just going to cause more chaos. It's going to be,
and a lot of people go to that.
Yeah,
a lot of people get to that extreme. Drugs have been illegal for 100 years. They're still drug addicts. Criminals don't care about law. I mean, I don't want to surprise everybody. I hope this isn't too edgy.
They would be a criminal if they did, right?
Exactly. That's, you know, people don't realize that. Like, it's not edgy to say criminals don't really give a crap about your thoughts, laws, morals. They don't. You know, they still sell drugs to pregnant women. You think they care, you know, how you feel about guns? It's, you know, people get a little emotional with it. And with that emotion, you lose a little bit of your common sense, I'll say.
Right. So as far as kids in school, you know, like I said, he supposedly got past an armed guard, which I don't even know how that's possible. So do you think, and I think this was a really hot topic right after the shooting in Texas last year. I want to, was that like maybe October, November?
I think, yeah, it was towards the end of the year.
Yeah, it was. I want to say it wasn't too far from maybe Houston.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. I thought that's what it was.
He left school, came back to school, and shot people. The question for me is, how do we protect our kids? Do we put armed guards in every single school? Do we have police at the school? Like, then what type of environment does that create?
Exactly. You're raising your kids. Some kids are going to fear police because that's all they see. You know, some kids do already.
Right.
You know what I mean? So certain schools, I mean, like where I grew up, there was always cops at school. I mean, you had to be. It was in the wrong neighborhood, you know? But it's like, we're talking about communities that it's not like that. You could really mess somebody up with, you know, changing so quick to that. And I think a lot of parents don't know how to have these conversations with their children either.
And that's another thing is just, I have a now third grader. She just finished today. She finished second grade. If she were to come to me and ask me about this shooting, what kind of conversation do I have with her that's gonna
Yeah.
make me feel good about reassuring her that she's going to be safe? Because I don't want to lie to my child, because you just don't know.
Exactly.
I mean, it
Yeah.
happened down the street at my daughter's high school. She's not attending there anymore, but I purposely, me and Fresh purposely picked this city because it's one of the safest cities on the planet. And since we've been here, my daughter has been in her high school, and they found a bullet in the hallway. They just recently had a shooting in February, and we had a restaurant where two guys came in and just started shooting people who were of Muslim faith and told them to go
Wow.
back to their country down the street from where I live. And it's supposed to be one of the safest cities in the country.
I have a debate about that. You know, people always say, keep voting Democrat. And it's like, where is it safe? Where's these Republican safe havens that are drug free, no crime? Like, where are these places?
I don't
Because I
think
can't
they
find them.
exist.
They don't.
They don't exist.
People are
It's
so closed minded.
everywhere. It's something everywhere. No matter where you go,
It is. You know, and it's also location. You know, in New Jersey, you have Morristown, New Jersey. It's right by Maple Shade. It's considered like one of the richest cities, safest. You know, a lot of your Eagles players live over there. 10 minutes away is Camden, New Jersey. Everyone heard of Camden. You know, it's so bad, everyone's heard of it. So it's like, I could walk there in 30 minutes. That's a problem. You know, we shouldn't be pushing crime into one area. I'm from Kensington. They push, like, if you ever seen The Wire, Kensington is New Amsterdam. That's what it is. You know, they funnel all the drugs there to keep the other communities safe. But I think a lot of this has to, you know, to go back to the original, a lot of this is cultural. We need to start raising our kids, you know, better. Music needs to change, film, video games, you know, just the outlook, no one cares about life's outlook anymore.
Yeah, what people don't realize is that a lot of this, when you're dealing with developing minds, you know what I mean? Your brain is developed. His brain was still developing at 18.
For another 12 years, he'd be still having, you know, until you're 30. Right.
And so while I don't put everything on the music or the TV or whatever.
Me either. I agree.
A lot of it is parenting. And there are some people who just have mental issues, but you just have who choose crime. It ain't got shit to do with mental.
It does come down to parenting. You're so right.
Right. It's sometimes, you know, and you know how they like to label certain people, oh, mental health issue. Like, it's not always a mental health issue. Sometimes that motherfucker just committed a crime.
Yeah, exactly. People get addicted to crime. Some people get, you know, pull one and then you like it. You know what I mean? It's fast money. It's exciting. Your adrenaline goes up. I've committed crimes. You know what I mean? I'm not proud of it. I moved my life forward.
Oh, I need to interview you then.
Oh yeah.
You got a story to tell, Kenzo?
Oh yeah, I got a ton of them.
But yeah,
I never went to prison though. I never went to prison.
Oh well, very good.
Yeah. Just jail.
Straight and narrow now, right? You straight and narrow.
Oh yeah, for I other than, you know, like selling pot here and there. Years ago, I stopped all like crime when my kids were born. So 2003. You know, we were stealing cars. We were kind of like, that was our thing. I stopped all that.
Yeah, that was probably really big during that time.
Oh yeah, it was.
I remember that movie. What was it? The New Jersey Drive. You remember that?
New Jersey Drive. Yep, exactly. We used to watch it. Yeah, we would watch it before we went out and did that.
Out my window. Growing up northeast. Yeah, baby.
That's just how it was. Exactly. That's a fact.
Yeah, and I don't feel like, it's weird because I don't feel like I hear about crimes like that anymore. Like, these kids now, they taking a gun, shooting up the school. They, you know, shoot up the restaurant, and they taking the shit far.
I think a lot has to do with this. We're 80s babies or late 70s babies here, most of us. We didn't have this. So if there was a shooting in Texas, you wouldn't know till 6 p.m. when your news came on, your local news, if they reported about it. Now, everyone knows. People are on the ground filming. I mean, look, I always bring up the analogy of, in the early 90s, The only reason we knew about Rodney King is someone had a camcorder at a close enough distance and caught the video.
Right.
Seven people recorded George Floyd, that situation. So it just showed you the change, you know what I mean, in 30, 25 years. Things are so different because of the information age. It's at, the speed of light.
And oddly enough, you would think with things being so vocal, things being so right there in your face and being recorded and uploaded like instantaneous, that would deter people from doing some of the stuff that they do, because you're way more likely to get caught.
Yeah.
And you never know where it came from, because 30 people have filmed it and put it on WorldStar.
But prison, also, they don't care about getting caught in a way, because prison isn't a bad thing anymore. It's a badge of honor.
They see all their friends.
Yeah, it's a badge of honor now. Oh, I did, I mean, so I don't want anyone behind bars, but there's people who make their YouTube career off of doing long time and now speaking of that experience. It's like 40 years ago, you would have been the least popular person on here just because of how society was.
Right. Now it's glorified.
Yeah, it's glorified. Exactly. That's where I say with the music. I mean, we don't have, Tupac would talk about thug life, but then he would write a song like Keep Your Head Up.
Keep it right.
We don't have that anymore.
There's no balance. And that's what I said about the young minds, is that when you don't have balance in everything, you got to have balance when kid comes home. You got to do your homework first, have a snack, change your clothes, then you can play on the phone. Balance.
Oh, parenting is the biggest balancing act.
What you say?
I said parenting is the biggest balancing act, because we all say, I'm your mom, I'm your dad, not your friend. But you want to be their friend. When they're 30, you're going to be their friend. Like, you know what I mean? So it is a little confusing, but you have to know, like, listen, I tell my son, I ain't trying to be a hard ass. I'm trying to teach you what the real world is going to do to you. You get cocky in the real world, you will be smacked in the mouth. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to smack you in the mouth. I'm going to say, someone else will smack you. Don't do that.
Yes, and I'd much rather be the one to give them that hard lesson than, for them to experience that in the street. So, I definitely get that. I'm going to take a quick second real quick and acknowledge a couple of people in the chat. Linda 215, salute queen.
Linda, I'm seeing some of my day ones. I see y'all.
ATG TV, thanks for tuning in. I already shouted out Bishop. Nat, welcome to the Fresh Perspective. I don't think I've seen you here before. Thank you for tuning in.
Nat is awesome. Great supporter.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. CMW Recordings, thank you so much. And I love my song. I'll be bumping it even when I'm not on the show. I love that song.
That new song is crazy. That beat bumps hard. I love that beat.
Oh, ain't it though?
I said it to Kels when you started. I'm like, I love this beat.
It's just for Lady Fresh. Harlem Girl, my love. Thank you for tuning in. We got another guest here. I'm gonna add him to the stream. Hey, ATG, look at you at work.
Yeah.
Oh, Jonathan.
Hey,
working hard?
Yeah. I wish I can chime in, man. I'm gonna catch the replay. I just wanted to say salute to both of y'all and salute to the chat and keep grinding, sis. Salute.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you dropping by.
All
right.
Love you, bro. He's crazy.
That's what's up. Yeah, I wish he would have been able to come up, but I appreciate him dropping by.
That's my brother right there.
Yeah, so I was listening to one of my most frequented like Clubhouse rooms today, and they were talking about the shooting and ways to keep our kids protected. And somebody made a point of why don't we, we have a huge issue with our veterans. Our veterans, they come home, they don't have jobs, they don't have health care. There's a lot of things. So they were suggesting maybe putting a lot of our veterans back to work by putting them into schools.
I've actually used this before myself. I actually think that is a great idea. If we could give these gentlemen, ladies, psyche evals where we know they're not dealing with no extreme PTSD, there are many, full functioning vets when they come back. Not, PTSD doesn't run super rampant. So if we could get those people to work those jobs, I would be all for it. someone who's trained. Because, you know, army teachers, I mean, they're teachers. They're not assassins. You know, I always hear, give the teachers a gun. That
But
would be
they can
great for a
carry
last resort.
But they can carry too. Most of the people
Sure,
are trained. Nowadays, nobody's trained that's walking these streets with these guns.
that's true. They just shoot and run at the same time.
Right. So
Run
maybe
away
they
as you
need to
shoot.
train the teachers, even though that's a horrifying, like it's a horrifying thought of knowing that my teacher might have, my daughter's teacher might have a Glock in the drawer. However, had one of those teachers had a gun in the drawer, maybe while he was
We don't know the difference. Yeah.
right, maybe while he was barricading, we never know. It might have been a different outcome. So, like you said, that it's a tricky one. It's really tricky when you start to try to decide guns in school, guns, you know.
Yeah,
that's.
I think schools being gun-free zones are a little insane. You know, to say we can't have cops there, that's a gun-free zone. Like, no, we need you to protect our children. They're your responsibility for that 7 hours.
Hello.
Hey, Mills Lane.
Hey, what's up, Mills?
Hey, salute, Lady Fresh and Kenzo.
Kenzo, yes, sir.
Salute to you, Kenzo. Philly born as well.
Welcome,
Yes, sir.
welcome.
Yes,
So
sir.
Mills Lane is the master of solutions.
Mhm.
I give the perspective, and he comes with the solution. So
I
I
like
know
it.
you got something you want to add to this conversation.
Yes, and I wanted to get on. I said I wasn't camera ready, but the topic is more important than me looking how I look. So I'm just gonna be off camera. Is that okay?
That's fine. That totally.
I am too, because I'm gonna light this doobie.
It's like, you're just gonna leave me by myself. Well, I'm gonna go off camera too if that's the case.
You don't have to, Lady Fresh.
We all avatars now.
Hey,
I mean, this is an important topic, and I want to take it to where I believe in. I stand and believe in America because I was born here. I understand the principles, but it's a leadership thing.
For sure.
And you got to look at the top of leadership. The top of leadership is elected, and we don't know what their basic thoughts is, except government. Government's whole purpose is to create people to have a fear to need government backing. So we're United States, so everything is state ran, and we're looking at states, and we let the states have their decisions. So you'll have pro-gun states, you'll have anti-gun states, and for this to happen, I like when I heard you say in Texas, and that's one of the main things that I said when it first happened. Hey, this happened in Texas of all places.
That makes you feel like it could happen anywhere.
Yes, and it has happened. When it happened in Sandy Hook, a lot of people were like, "Well, see, that's how they're so anti-gun in the Northeast," and even somebody might have put another perspective in and say, "Well, if the teachers had guns and things of that nature," but you have to look at the overall portion of America believes in the gun. It's the Second Amendment. It's the second thing. It says, yeah, you can say what you want as long as you're not making things up. But the next thing is you have the right to bear arms.
Yeah.
And of course, against not only somebody trying to harm you, but against a government just trying to take over, a tyrannical government. So
I think a lot of people leave that part out as well nowadays.
They do.
It's like, no, guns are to protect yourself. You only need a rifle. And it's like, protect against who? It's not just against the intruder at 3 a.m. It's against the army kicking your door in and asking for the women in your house. Things like that.
Yeah, and this is exactly what it gives a chance to have somebody feeling one way and somebody feeling a different way. So me, and what I tried to start last year and before is talking about solutions, solutions is a character itself, but actually solutions is what I think we actually need. And one of the things about guns, like one of my first solutions I always thought of was like universal registry. Like how I have to register my car. My car has a VIN number. I have to pay a registration fee for this car. So if my car happens to be crashed inside of some, you know, some building, somebody knows exactly where to go. And I have to have a driver's license. So I have to show some type of discipline on how to maneuver, operate this vehicle. And I have to be tested, certified in order to and a vehicle can be used to kill as well, as we've seen people try to run over people.
Yeah.
So guns, oh, you just have to have a certain age. In certain states, just be a certain age and you can have whatever gun you want, provided you can afford it. How come we don't have like you know, you should have to have like go through some type of shooting school or take some tests on, well, is this an appropriate time to use a gun? Why don't we do that with these weapons of, you know, that can take out a lot of people, and especially people that are unprotected like children?
I agree. The law is just, it's too loose. You know, my niece, she lives in Atlanta, and you know, she mentioned that it's pretty much the same there now. You know, you can just basically have a gun, and it was the worst thing that could ever happen to the city of Atlanta. You know, that is, it's already like the jungle there, and this just made it so much worse. So my thing is, I definitely don't think you should take the right away. That's not gonna work. That's just gonna make
I was going to bring that up as well. You know, just two quick points. One, that what do we say towards illegal guns? Because I do agree with you. And I think, just to say quickly, I think the issue we do run into, as Lady Fresh was saying about the things just sitting around, essentially, we get to the point where we're going to kind of, we don't like that, so we're not going to deal with nothing. So, you know, why can't this be everything Mills just named? It seems like common sense to most of us. Why can't that be stipulations for the legal gun owners? Just because there's illegal guns doesn't mean we shouldn't take those steps for the legal owner.
right.
You know what I mean? But I would also just end with, he brought up driver's licenses, and I think that's a great point. I know people that think that is infringing on their freedoms. Having to register a car, because back in the day, it wasn't, you didn't need insurance. You didn't even have a picture on your driver's license. Do you know what I mean? So they're like, the government infringed on them. A driver, to keep a car now, you have to have a job. Let's be honest. Let's take gas out the equation. You need insurance, registration once a year, stickers once a year. You're always paying, plus maintenance, gas, tires. When it's it became a money grab. The same thing. We're a capitalist country. They're always going to do that. You know, don't ever think they're going to not try to make a buck. You know, people, oh, they're on these kids' graves. Welcome to capitalism. This is why some people don't like it. But it's just, you know, I do know people that thought that the registration on vehicles, but I do agree with Mill's points, and that's what I would say. Just because we'll still have a legal gun problem doesn't mean we shouldn't take those steps towards legal guns. Because if this young man did obtain this gun legally, as we're hearing, it would have been prevented.
But
because he would have had to buy it on the street. They're saying that's how we buy it.
They're saying he bought it online.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. You know, if that on who he reached out to online was, you know, did these backgrounds, you had to register into this registration that Mills is talking, you know, these stipulations are in place. This young man would then most likely give up and look for one on the street. That's something we really need to work on, because when you live in the inner cities, Mill said he's from Philly, all those shootings we hear every night, that's not legal gun owners. That gun was bought for $300-400 in an alley. I bought them. I've seen people buy and sell them. You know what I mean? I've seen the trade. That trade is very heavy. The news will tell us it's gun shows. Them gun shows are more strict than the internet, more strict than your local gun store. You think they're going to let you walk into your local civic center and buy a missile launcher? Like, no, those things are strict. The crimes you're seeing, you're getting, you know, these AKs, ARs, they're coming from foreign countries where they were used in a war, coming to the street. You can watch, you know, it's fiction. Sons of Anarchy, that's what they did. They were gun runners. That shows you they had real Hell's Angels assist on that show. So they're basically telling you how they operate it. That's how it goes. And you'll see that back alley deals by the crate. Why we have so many gun problems? Because there are 350 million Americans, but 400 million guns. We have 50 million more guns than people. And not everybody owns guns. We're talking 350 is babies, old ladies.
I was going to say, that's not even counting just adults.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
You figure out, if we said you have to be over 21 of sane mind, and no crime, you know, and never committed a crime to be a gun owner, we're cutting that number down to 90 million, 70 million. Once I add that mental illness into effect, we take millions out of the equation. This goes from 350. This goes from double digits to, I mean, triple to double, because we're adding mental. And there's a huge mental illness crisis in this country. It fuels excuse me, I'm drawing a blank on a word and it's throwing me off here. The opioid epidemic, it fuels that. So it's, you know, these things are all linked. Everything is linked. And, you know, when you start to go that route, people think conspiracy theorist. People think, and it's, if I'm seeing, you know, humans naturally see patterns. It's something we do. It's instinctual. So when you start seeing them, you don't need people telling you you're crazy and then some people are crazy. So let me actually play devil's advocate. Some people do get crazy with their theories. So I just think common sense changes a lot.
Sense ain't common these days, though.
But nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to talk about moving forward and being progressive.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
progressive is a tarnished word these days, because I consider myself a progressive and I've been ridiculed.
Yeah, but we had to be progressive in this country. You know, one day somebody had to say and fight to say, you know, enslaving people is not the right thing to do.
Yeah, it took long enough for that. So that's what I'm saying.
One day we had to say women should vote. Women, you know, women can work. They should earn a certain amount of money. You know, one day we had to say these
takes
things.
Your hope away. You bringing these up is making me feel down a little bit, because I'm like, it took them hundreds of years to figure this stuff out.
So how long you think it's going to take to figure out guns?
Guns.
We can't even figure out. We're still learning how to talk to each other.
And so you're so right.
Well,
so look, the First Amendment is free speech, right? So we're still learning how to talk to each other.
A lot of people don't understand that amendment. They think, oh, it's free speech. I can say whatever I want. You're not free of consequence. You call someone the N-word, they can punch you in the mouth, and it's just what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, people don't understand that. They think, oh, I can say whatever I want. No, that's not what that means. You are still not free of consequence, you know?
So in order to move forward, we need some type of unilateral stuff. I mean, hello, the only thing we got unilateral is nobody should be raped. Nobody, you know, no kid should be molested. I don't
think we even agree on that with the things we're hearing of Roe v. Wade.
Now with Roe v. Wade, you know, like they're okay with loosening the gun laws, but now they're taking away the right to
terminate an incest baby,
right?
Or you know, sexually.
Or should I say they're trying to put very strict stipulations on it.
Yep.
And now going to leave it up to the states. If it does get overturned, it'll be up to the states what they do, and you would only be able to do it up to 6 weeks. It's a whole crazy kind of thing that's going on right now with gun laws being so loose, but they're overturning the right to abortion. So I
honestly, go ahead, Lady Fresh. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm going to add John Illuminati to the panel.
What's up, everybody?
I was only going to say, I actually said the other day to I believe it was Kells. I said, I think they're trying to see how much we'll take. The government,
I
But
agree
with these contradictions, what you just spoke of, and think of this: Steve Manchin is the person who is pretty much the only Democratic senator who turned down the stimulus payments. Guess who's pushing for Ukraine to get billions of dollars? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how long do we deal with that? I think a lot of it. I think that I don't try to go too far down the rabbit hole, but it's like, are you trying to see how much we could deal with?
No,
People aren't back
with that. I agree, because what's going to end up happening, especially when you look at the situation with Roe v. Wade, and it's going to start pushing women and even men who don't want babies
do extreme things,
to do the most extreme things. That is why a lot of that was a thing, because we were losing women who were so desperate that they were getting coat hangers and trying to abortions,
pushing cars uphill, falling down steps.
Now, I'm not saying I'm for or against either way. I'm for whatever you feel you need to do. Now, I don't think that people should use abortion like birth control, but
we're on the same platform with that, and it goes to a word that Mills just said: progressive. That's a progressive mind frame. Like, I don't think someone should terminate a baby past 6 months. My personal opinion. Like, but
that's even long.
The way I kind of logic it is, if that baby could survive outside the mother, then I would definitely, me personally, would consider that murdering a baby. Because that baby could survive outside of you already. But to tell someone at 8 weeks that's a life, who determines consent? Who determines life? Is it conception? Is it a heartbeat? Everyone's so torn on that, and that's why these issues seem to be coming to the forefront to really pull us apart, to show the division more. We've seen racial issues take over the last couple of years, getting worse when they had started to get better. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, what's happening right now? The gun laws, the Roe v. Wade, so that'll put men versus women. That's going to lock doctors up. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, what is happening? Why are we? How is our Supreme Court now all conservatives?
Look at it like this. Look at it like this. Like you said earlier, you were talking about the two political parties. The arguments, Roe v. Wade and gun control. What party does that favor? You know what I mean?
Well, somebody got
it's part of their agenda. And if you look at the origins of Roe v. Wade, it was all a lie. The lady, it was all a lie. The lady that they said the baby was aborted, but she came out in an interview talking about it never happened. Her mom on her deathbed confessed to it though.
Yeah, no. Well,
it was all based on a lie.
It was common knowledge that she didn't terminate the pregnancy. So Roe v. Wade, that whole thing, she petitioned to get an abortion because she didn't want to have her now third baby. So she wanted to have an abortion, but she never had the abortion. In fact, later on in life, she had a domestic partner, which was a woman, which doesn't matter, but they became like evangelists, or they were deep into the church, and said that, petitioning for that abortion, going to court for it, was the biggest mistake that she ever made in her life. So, and that she was pressured into doing certain things. So if you do your research on her, you'll be amazed at what you find out.
And that's just more that, what the word that fits that? America. More of the same thinly veiled bullshit they always pull. You write on a piece of paper, all men are created equal, and go home to your slaves. It's always been some stupid, thinly veiled bullshit. We the people, everyone's free, but you had slavery. Like what that it does. We've been a contradiction from jump.
Still got slavery going on.
One of my favorite sayings is United States of America is an oxymoron.
It really is, because when have we been united? We were united for 2 weeks. That was September 11th, 2001 to September 21st, 2001.
Oh, don't forget July 4th. Everybody's American on July 4th too. Don't forget that.
Yeah, but listen, right after 9/11, man,
people have a bigger allegiance to a neighborhood or a block than they do the country. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
But then we're Mexican on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Right? You know it. Couple Coronas.
From holiday to holiday, the same old cycle.
Let me shout out a couple people in the chat real quick. I see my Eve, Foxy Moon, Andre, Obama don't like me. I see that. I saw I think I saw my Coach Love, Coach Erica Love. Salute. Thank you for tuning in to the Fresh Perspective. I didn't get to catch your show the other night, but I'm definitely gonna watch the rebroadcast. Now, I love Coach Erica Love. You guys, make sure somebody drops her link in the chat. She has some great platforms. She does interviews. She's amazing. So you guys go over and check out her show. I think you'll really enjoy it. So thanks for supporting the machine, Coach Erica. Pink Sugar, salute. Thanks for tuning in. You guys, we're talking about the tragedy in Texas, another senseless school shooting, and it's kind of led us into talking about just the fact that a lot of what's happening today, it's a distraction. If that's like it's
100% a distraction.
Right. It's a distraction.
You know, it's a distraction from right now. The World Economic Forum is meeting where we're supposed to hand over our sovereignty of how our pandemics are how they're handled. We're supposed to hand over our sovereignty to them. That's what they're trying to do. A lot of nations, smaller nations said no, but that's what they're doing right now. But you don't see that in the news.
Got some crazy sound in the background.
I'll mute to see if it's me. I don't think it's me, but I'll just try.
Yup, it was you.
It was you.
Oh, it's me?
It's always the first guy to say, not me.
I don't know what it is. It's something in the background.
Yeah, I don't have nothing in my. I might, unless I have to refresh, like I'm lagging. Other than that, I have no background.
I don't hear it. No, I don't hear it now. Well, a little. I don't know. It's weird. It's not as bad now.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good. It just kind of gets loud and then it goes away.
Oh, okay, I got you. That's weird. My voice. Kel said she thinks it's just my voice. Going up and down.
So I would love for one of my ladies that's down in the chat to come up and give their perspective. You know, whether you be a mom, an educator, or someone who just wants to chime in on, the tragic events that happened this week. And, it's just like 10 days after we just lost, a bunch of elderly. So it's like, these motherfuckers have no respect. Like,
the opposite sides of the spectrum.
Went to the hood. Not that, and again, like Kenzo said earlier, I don't want anybody to die. I don't think that any life is more than the other. But it's just like you go into a grocery store where there's dozens of elderly. You select elderly people.
I've seen the video. It was like the rare coincidence. There was nothing but old people out front. I don't want to say old because I'm almost 40, but I mean from just optics.
But most of these people were in their 50s and
50 to 70s.
50, 60, 70s. They can't defend themselves.
But wait a minute, guys.
Not only that, but they picked out the area for a reason. He said in his manifesto, he picked out the area because of its lax gun control laws.
He knew the lax gun control.
He knew who to get away with it.
And there's some other things in the background. You hear me, guys? I think no. I'm just saying, as far as I think I was hearing this on the Star Report. One of the security guard. He was one of these people that figured out how to make engines run off water.
Oh, wow. The one that got a shot off, but then was, sadly killed.
Yeah.
That's one. Wow.
Ugh. I mean, here we go again with somebody coming up with a solution with some of the problems.
I know, right?
Yeah. Hey, gas prices is like $5, $6 or whatever. But we can make a car run off water. Oh, you can.
That's cutting into our profits. That's
cutting
into our bottom line. You gotta do something about that. That stuff doesn't really happen. They do all people like that.
That's one of the reasons why sometimes I be happy. I'm low key. I'm low. I'm like, I don't have a whole bunch of subscribers. A lot of the things I be saying, maybe it don't reach every ear, but I want it to reach everybody's ear as long as I can,
The way I see it, though, is coming first, so we got no choice but to
tell the truth.
You can't be afraid.
You got to think, Mills. We send 50,000 people to a desert for fucking with our money. What you think we're going to do to somebody who lives here and does it? They only got to send 2 people. They ain't got to send 50,000. They sent
Like, what?
Obama was drone striking Americans, you know, so these people don't care.
They say it was a suicide. They say it was a suicide, but it's in a spot you can't shoot yourself. You know what I mean? So it's like you never know what's going on. It's always something.
Or a guy got shot in the back of his head twice. It's a suicide. How does that happen? Explain that to me.
Exactly.
Well,
And that's what I say. I always say, past the conspiracy theory, past all that, look at the mistrust you give to people. Yeah, are they breading it? Are they breading it themselves? You got to remember, Operation Paperclip. 1,200 Nazis came to this country. Nazi scientists.
It wasn't only Nazi scientists, Japanese scientists too.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, these guys were literally trying. They were the propaganda kings. You don't think they stole a couple little rules? I mean,
Nah.
Werner Braun,
Like the same people that set up Hitler, or the same people that set up the World Economic Forum, the same people that brag about controlling 51 governments across the planet. You know what I mean? The same people that came out publicly and said, "Hey, you have a global government. As a matter of fact, we're gonna track everything you eat, what you buy, and what you do."
All right.
And
hold on, guys. Murph, do me a favor. Can you go out and come back in? Because I don't know where I need to see if it's you, if it's John. I don't know where it's coming from. But
no problem.
I start talking, that sound gets really bad. Okay, let's see. John, talk.
Is it gone?
Yeah, I think so. You keep talking, and we'll know if it was truly him.
And you know what's crazy about this? So it's like the same old cycle. Like people forget what was going on in 2014, 2015. The same old stuff. Mass shooting happens. The people yell for gun control, write laws, and everything else. People buy more guns. That's the only thing that happens out of it. People buy more guns.
I was going to say, you're going to keep buying more guns,
the schools are never secured or anything else. Nobody's thinking of the children. If you pay attention to these politicians, they're all talking about gun control. You don't hear them once mentioning the victims. Not once.
Mm-hmm.
No, and one of the first thoughts I had were like actually trying to get some wisdom and trying to actually think about some solutions on things was back when Trayvon Martin got killed. And this was like the first time people were trying to say, you know, Black Lives Matter, and as if, you know, the philosophy wasn't enough, you know, it had to become a corporation or whatever. But one of the first things I said was, if lives and you know, of course people will yell, all lives matter. Oh, a salute to Eve. Oh, I see that comment on the screen. But what to say all lives matter, why don't we stop commerce when somebody gets killed?
Or why is it only select Black Lives Matter that they could put in the media matter? How come it's not all Black lives? See, that's why they're so mad about all.
No. I'm just saying
it's not another race. It's more because they can't monopolize every Black death. You know what I mean?
But John, we put a flag. We put the flag at half staff for certain people. When certain people die, we lower our flag. You know, we have national days of mourning and certain things like that. But if all lives truly mattered, we would slow down and actually care about these things. I remember, and Eve is reminding me, because one of her earlier shows on the Ignorant Misfits
show. Back up, Murph. Come back up.
One of her earlier shows was about like how many missing people go missing every year. People just get missing, go missing, and it's like we just keep it pushing. At one time, they at least put like pictures on milk cartons, but we just keep it pushing. Like people go missing, kids go missing, and it's like some kids we care about, and you know it'll circulate on the news cycle for a little bit. But like I said, things continue, business continues, the show keeps on going, keeps going. So you if you're gonna say something matters, you're gonna say it, stand behind it. You know, we love when everybody stand on a square, but when people talk and it's just a bunch of empty emptiness. A lot of times it's very empty. And
I hit the home button on accident.
Oh, okay. You
okay.
sound much better now.
Okay, I thought it might be something with my internet. I'm like, I was fine. You know what, John? It's them, John. It's them.
It's them. There you go.
No,
You don't sound like
They,
you're underwater
them.
no more.
it's them.
Mills just said, as I was coming
They
up, Mills
found me.
just
Damn
said,
it.
I think like one of the main, oh, never mind. Let me just shut up. I'm a little stoned and I forgot what the point was. I'll get it back.
All lives being mad, all lives mattering, but
Oh,
we don't stop.
the
We don't stop
contradictions.
commerce.
Yes, we just move on. That was the point. Thank you, Mills. That was it. It's back to business. That's what you said. And that's so true. That's the real problem. We still talk about Trayvon, but people moved on. George, this guy still, Zimmerman, the scumbag, still makes money off this boy's death. And it's so, Mills said, what lives? We care about aborted babies, but we don't care about Trayvon Martin. It was a child. He was 17.
So when that
You know what
guy
I mean?
shot up that grocery, that market, right? And just killing all these older black people, right? Remember when we were in the bubble era, and a cop might have shot somebody, and it was kind of questionable, and they decided to like stop playing basketball for a day. I mean, that was so impactful in my mind.
It was.
But it didn't happen after this shooting. And then I was watching it was Dallas versus Phoenix. And I'm like, this was game 7. And Phoenix ended up putting up like 27 points. And it's somebody, it's a fan of that team. And I was like, I'm like, man, he was talking all this smack about, he was all hyped for his team. And his team come out playing bad. And I went through mental thoughts on how did I want to respond to him? Like, did I want to be like, hey man, your team is playing like garbage? One of the things I wanted to tell him was, I don't think we should have been playing basketball. The NBA shouldn't have been playing. But business continued.
Yeah.
So,
I said the same thing with, everything that was happening with the NFL. And shout out to Colin Kaepernick. He got a little drill.
He got a tryout.
Yeah, he got a tryout coming up. But
trust me, I've been arguing with people all day about all these issues. Trust me.
Why was that man unemployed this long? Why? And
I will say he was blackballed.
He's not that good.
He was black. Yeah, he wasn't great. He wasn't great. He was good.
He's a solid backup. I can say he's better than a lot of backups in the league, but
he might get this job. Oh, he might get this job. That's what I'm arguing with people. I'm like, to say he's not better than 64 other guys, I can't do that. To say he's not better than 32. Yeah, I could say he's not better than 32 guys, and that's not even a true statement. It's actually like 25.
But it wasn't even about that. That's the sad part.
It's not about that. But yeah, he was blackballed, and when they gave him a chance, he snubbed it. So that was like, like someone gives you a chance and someone smacks him in the face still, and you're like, you know what? I should have never even gave you the chance. So I was shocked by the rate. I never thought they'd give him another after that tryout.
And part of the problem with Kaepernick was he claimed he was oppressed, but if you look at his background and his lifestyle, that's not the case. It was all the ruse, all a lie.
See, but I don't think that. I think the message is more important than the messenger.
Yeah.
That's a lot of times.
At the same time, when the messenger,
he did deal with oppression as a young. He was a young black man living in a home with a white parent.
He also looks light skinned.
Look at it like this.
There's those stories as well of light skinned people, dark skinned people.
Look at it like this.
He did have privilege. However, the privilege didn't change his skin color.
No. He's so fake racism. We all do. But look at it like this. If Colin Kaepernick never came along, we would never have that BS Black Lives Matter movement. That would never have happened. You know what I mean?
But you can't just put that on.
And they were both funded by the same people. They got the same people behind them too. The same advertisers and everything else.
It may have catapulted it, but I don't know if you can put the whole thing on him.
And also, you got to also try to distinguish the message of the statement. Black Lives Matter, just the statement, not the corporation.
That's what I call it.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean,
I always say, I don't try to correct. I would never tell a person of color how to feel. So I'm not going to say, hey, you should have did this. But I always believed if the word TOO,
me and Fresh say that all the time.
If two followed matters, I don't think Blue Lives Matter could exist because it's kind of shot in the foot from the name Black Lives Matter 2. Because that's when you hear people talk about it, that is the message. Hey, we matter too, waving over here, we're drowning. That's kind of the message. So it's that little word I felt which could change so much. You know what I mean? Because that's what happens. You say that and someone's like, my life matters, and it's like if it don't fit, you just keep it moving. Like, I'm not talking about you.
It's obvious that all lives matter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When it comes to, and I'm not a huge supporter of the movement because I believe it really doesn't serve us.
Trash. It
doesn't serve us the way that it should. But
that's what Mills was saying.
And like I said, all lives matter. Yeah, right.
But the reason why we have to say Black Lives Matter is because y'all showing us that y'all don't believe that our lives matter. So
are you saying this?
But I do agree with you, Murph. Me and Fresh talk about that all the time, that it should have been Black Lives Matter too, because that makes a very specific statement. And it can't.
That takes away all lives. That eliminates all lives.
It eliminates because now it's already been included. All lives. This is in addition to, and so. But
means also.
But that whole all lives matter and Blue Lives Matter thing was just a way to tear down the Black Lives Matter.
I think Blue Lives Matter is trash because.
And you have another side that doesn't understand.
Actually, for real, people don't understand Bill Gates or nobody. How come Bill Gates is in jail? Where's his investigation? Blue Lives Matter. They need to go somewhere with that. I'm cool on that.
You see the most stout supporters of those two, the all and the blue, the most stout supporters of those are usually like middle-class white people who live in the suburbs, probably seen 3 black people in their whole life. So they don't understand any. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people don't understand each other in this country. And that's the problem. We're going, how can you think a woman should abort a baby at 9 months? Then we're also going, how do you think someone should kill a person? 2 philosophies, they contradict each other. How do you think people should have guns? Why should anyone have a murder weapon? The people are on these sides, and some of us
in the back observer. Do me a favor and open your camera up real quick. I need to see who you are.
I forget who that is. I've seen that name before. Not sure.
Uh-oh. Did I say too much? Like, when do I say too much?
I've seen him before.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Oh, okay. I do know who it is. That's the brother.
Y'all hear me?
Hey,
what's up,
how you doing? Welcome to the Fresh Perspective.
What up,
how y'all doing? Man, I'm good. I was just listening to the conversation. I wanted to tune in whenever I could.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have the floor.
To be, and I've always felt like this. Like, I feel like Black Lives Matter, the whole movement, I understand, like, in a sense, like, okay, some people actually have a moral to actually, they stand with that, but sometimes, like, when that whole movement started, what about the black on black crime that happens in certain places all the time that people don't stand up, they don't stand up for it. It's like they only stand up for the things when it hits the media. Then everybody wants to jump on the movement, and then once the movement's over, they're distracted by something else. I just feel like it's all there. And the brother said it earlier, they're backed by the same people, George Soros. These, why was it when Black Lives Matter, how come they were tearing up their own communities and stuff like that? Like, why are we tearing up our own communities in order to prove a point that our lives matter? But we'll go into these stores where grandmas, moms, people are waiting to retire and go tear some stuff up, and then a week from now, we back to our everyday lives as if nothing happened, waiting for the next distraction to jump on. Like, and a lot of times, a lot of stuff is psyops. Like, a lot of stuff that the media pushes, they put it out there to get people, ready to go, like, to get people in an uproar. So then they can come down and clamp on you for doing that. That's what they do. I try not to.
Agree with you. I agree with you as far as, there's a lot of black on black crime. That's been since forever. And I don't think we do enough. I don't think that the outrage is enough. However, I will say this. We can't ignore the fact that they are coming into our communities and they're killing us. Period. Whether we're killing ourselves, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, and I'm not saying that we should not be addressing it, because I agree with that. I agree that the uproar should be just as much, if not more, because it shouldn't be acceptable for us to see us killing each other. Like, how is that okay? How do you see it and not say anything? How do you, turn the blind eye? I'm not going to snitch. I'm not going to do that. How do you, continue to allow the poison to be pushed through the community? The poison that they're giving us.
A lot of that is what the media pushes, Lady Fresh, as well, though. Like,
no, I agree
guess what else is high? White on white crime, and Chinese on Chinese crime, Asian on Asian crime, and Indian on.
You get
killed by someone that looks like you.
But see, what people don't realize and what the media does not show is that there's way more white on white crime than there is black on black crime.
For sure, that's what I'm saying. These narratives are never pushed. It's only the black. Oh my God, black on black crime. What about this? And it's like, what about white on white, Asian on Asian, Indian on Indian, like Latin on Latin?
I'm not gonna.
Statistically, you get killed by someone that looks like you. That's what the statistic. About 80% of the time, you get killed by someone that looks the same as you. Someone from your community, your families.
I agree. But I'm never gonna say, why is it always, Black Lives Matter when they killing us and not on the black one? I'm not gonna do that, because we don't have the right to kill each other, but the people that are supposed to be protecting us, you're coming in here killing us. So yes. I
ain't nobody protecting us.
Exactly.
I
not
feel
only
like
is nobody
it
protecting us,
applies.
nobody's coming to our rescue. No politician, no Republican, no Democrat. We're all we got, people.
And that is why
that's it. That's just the fact of the matter.
Carry a pistol on you at all.
But this is the thing, though, right?
Hey, Foxy, welcome to the panel.
Salute, Foxy.
Salute, Foxy.
Hello.
See. I'm gonna need y'all to hold it down for just a second while I step away real quick. Y'all keep talking.
The only difference in crime, when you look at statistics like black on black, white on white, Asian on Asian, with the exception of China and the CCP, it's kind of crazy, because us as black people, we're not us, but black people, they assault more Asians than Asians assault Asians. That's a very little fact. But I think the media.
That's kind of just.
I think the media
John,
has a lot to do with that too.
Don't you feel that's something that's like modern? No, it isn't always been that.
I think it has more to do with the way the culture is
in the last few years. I mean,
yeah, it has, but I think it has a lot to do with the culture. Because if you look at the music, look at the video games, you won't find us portrayed in one positive role on any sitcom anymore. You don't got no Family Matters. You don't got none of that stuff. You know what I mean? Everything's all negative. It's always a stereotype. And because
there's other.
It's been that way.
Y'all got to understand, everybody has to take a turn. Yep. That's what I feel about it. Everybody takes a turn. Black people take a turn feeling oppressed. Asian people take a turn feeling oppressed. Homosexual people take a turn feeling oppressed. Everybody takes turns. It's just everybody's turn. And guess what? Everybody takes a turn, and everybody's also going to take a turn getting talked down to as far as how nasty their side is.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets that's the beauty. That's the only beauty of America, actually, if you ask me. We all get to take turns talking about oppression, and we all got to take turns being the person that is the person who's causing the problem and being addressed as the problem.
If we're oppressed, that means there's an oppressor. But the problem is people start looking at who the oppressors are. Some people just turn around and vote for these oppressors. They vote for the oppressors all the time.
Those in
I feel like this. A lot of people.
Those in control are the
gentlemen, sorry. Can we have one mic? We're going to do one mic in here because I would like to hear what you have to say, and the chat would like to. So we need to give respect and one mic to everybody. All right.
That's true.
Definitely salute Foxy. I'm a mute. I don't have a point.
I'm back. I see my sis had to hold it down for me real quick. She had to hit the one mic. Yeah, that's
Hey, she hit it right on time. I said it, and then
did.
she trumped me. I just shut up. I said, "You right."
Over here, we want to hear everybody's perspective. So we just ask that, we respect one another while they're speaking, and you'll have your chance. So I'm not sure who was talking just now. Foxy, did you have something that you wanted to add?
I think Mills was talking.
Was it okay? Mills.
Okay. I did want to say the oppressors are those who are in control, those in leadership. We don't know what they follow. We don't know if they're coming from a place of positive spiritual. We don't know if they're coming from a place of negative spiritual. We don't know what they want. We just know that they want to stay in control. And the best way to stay in control and to have power and to have money is, if I in the hood, if you don't have and you see somebody that has, that person can become a target. So the only way that they continue to have, and I should say those in power, is for them to make those who don't have power to turn to look at each other and cause chaos between each other. That way, that person that's in power doesn't have to really worry about losing their power or their wealth.
Yeah, well, we do know who's in power. They tell us exactly what they do. They tell us their plans. Like right now, they have a couple months or about a month ago, they had a world government meeting where they talked about a worldwide crypto for everybody. Now they're talking about carbon everything, tracking everything we do, we eat, and everything else. Like they have names, they have organizations. That's the problem. We're so conditioned to look at things just a race or a political party that we're not paying attention to the actual real Nazis. And some of these people have actual lineage and ties to Nazis. You know what I mean? Like we're not paying attention to those people. And because we're not paying attention, and the criminals, they gotten so bold in their statements that they're openly saying these things. Like we do know what they're doing. We do know what they're saying. We're just not paying attention to the right things right now. Like if you look at the World Economic Forum, everything they're talking about, that will give you like a little idea of what we're up against. And it's not very good at all.
I do agree with
Speaking
that.
of the World Economic Forum, I'm glad you mentioned that because one of the head advisors, Yuval Harari, have you been catching his speeches and his little conferences about how COVID was the perfect way to bring in biometric surveillance, nanotechnology under your skin via vaccine? That's all he talks about. Elon Musk, who you think came up with mRNA? He has a company that developed mRNA that's going inside these vaccines. So people support that man because he bought out Twitter, because he's pushing freedom of speech. He got everybody under this umbrella of being fooled. Everywhere you look in life, there's always some sort of distraction or psyop going on, whether it has to do with race, money, you're right, crypto, digital currency. They're bringing that in to the point where if you go on YouTube or Twitter and say something wrong, these people will be able to freeze your money. They'll be able to make it to where if you go to the grocery store, there's only certain things that they will allow your digital dollar to purchase. And guess what you have to have in order to have digital money? The vaccine.
Vaccine passport, exactly. And it's
kind
of crazy because these are the same people that funded everything. These are the same people that funded gain of function. Like they invented this stuff in the lab. And you look at the ingredients of it, the makeup of it, it's not a cure whatsoever. 100%, it's not a cure.
I don't even want to go that route right now.
Yeah, that's why I was watching what I said, because there's only certain things. Yeah.
Reel this back. Hey, Foxy.
Hi, Lady Fresh.
Hey, baby. Do you have something to add to what happened in Texas and everything that's going on with our kids' safety and gun control and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I do. And I also am going to be the one to stir the pot and go left with it because you know how I get into this bag and my third eye won't let me see anything else. And even if it's a travesty, I know that there's an agenda that's bigger than us. So while some of us are in our feelings, and I'm not saying that there aren't lives being taken away from us, and the school situation that's devastating, but this is nothing new. We got Columbine that we still can remember. Nobody's right. Nobody's, this is their hallmark. This is their trademark. This is what they do.
Yep.
And we still haven't got hit to it.
Every 10 years, 10 to 12 years. Yep.
They have timelines. They have timelines. Their timelines are April through June, where they do certain nefarious acts. I'm not going to say the word, but they do nefarious acts to society. And then there's this thing called Jason, where it's the months of June, July, August, September, October, November. That's the name. That's the increment for the months. They also do things around that time as well. You could call it spell casting. You can call it whatever you want, but it's nefarious acts, and it starts with an R. And I'm not talking about against women, but that's part of it. These people are deviant.
Drinking blood and everything else.
Protest season. Recently, I heard someone call that protest season.
Mm.
And I was like, what? Like, it was a gun owner saying buy ammo. And he said, come May, June, July, he said, protest season. I said, what? I was shocked. I'd never heard the word, never heard the context. You know what I mean? It was just, wow.
And Lady Fresh, peep how the video with the Buffalo shooting, there was this melanated man, big, Grizzly Adams dude. He says to the reporter, oh, I was talking to him the day before, and I went up to him because first of all, he didn't look right, but I went up to him anyway and had a conversation with him and asked him because the kid was wearing the word genius on his t-shirt and says, oh, you're a genius. So what do you think about this? What do you think about race? Whatever they call this, the new word for it, right? Mm-hmm. Having a whole dialogue with an 18-year-old boy sitting on the bench and having a conversation. If you said he looks like a stranger, why are you having a conversation with him? It's not making sense, but we go into our feelings and we sit here like, oh, that's sad. That's a travesty. That's this, that, and the other. No, that dude looks suspect. And they do this thing and people don't want to hear about it. And they don't want to hear about crisis actors and all that stuff. It's there. It's there. That person looks very suspect himself. He's wearing this Black Matters or Black something on his t-shirt. He's got the African color, not the African, Jamaican colors on his baseball cap. And he's talking about he sat with this white boy who he says looks suspect to begin with, but had a whole hour-and-a-half conversation with him. Please make it make sense.
Hey, you said crisis actors. Remember that one girl who you always seen at the I had seen her at an event. She was in France. She was at Sandy Hook and everything else. Remember that? That one chick?
Boston, Sandy Hook, yeah.
She was all over the place. They do use crisis actors. There's one FBI agent. He was at January 6th. He's been all over the place too. Like people think FBI, these alphabet agencies, they think that they work for us. I know our taxpaying dollars fund them, but they don't work for us. They're part of this
out. You think these people don't want individuals to act crazy over a reason that they throw out there through social media? Like, think about it. These people got bots for the internet. They have bots that can like a picture, a meme 3 million times. Next thing you know, it's going viral.
With you. You won't even know it's a bot.
Now you got people that are supporting this trend that came from a meme and stuff. Like, just think about when Black Lives Matter, after that George Floyd situation, and people was all in the uprise, there was pallets of bricks that were laid out in certain places. And they found out that those people who were laying those pallets of bricks in certain places, like, come on, they were all a part of the government. They're
with umbrellas breaking windows.
That was Bill Gates. That was Bill Gates. Like the Acme Brick Company. That was Bill Gates. He owned that brick company.
I seen a video of that. Guys breaking windows. Older, middle-aged white guy, all in black with an umbrella, and he's hammering the windows. And the people in the neighborhood are going, "What are you doing? Stop!" Like they chased him away. So you had all that. The bricks. I did see the bricks as well. And like I said, this guy I'd seen referred to it as protest season. Where did he hear that? Who sold that guy? It came from somewhere. You know what I mean? I don't think he made it up. He don't seem that brilliant.
You know what's crazy
Not
about
to
a
be
lot of these
brilliant,
buildings?
just, you know what I mean? Just to come up with something for that, it may even make that a name. You know what I mean? So it's just, there's so much. You got to understand, they do intelligence plus counterintelligence. You know what I mean? It's like they fund both sides type of stuff. So it's,
Man, it's
you don't know
just
what
like the
you're doing.
it's just like the political system. You have red, blue, Democrat, Republican, but they're both two different wings on the same bird, two different sides of the same coin. You have opposition, then you got controlled opposition. And these people play both sides and they fool people every time. Like these people
That's
go
what I
and
was
vote.
thinking.
These very same people who pass these laws and all this craziness, and you think you have rights and all of this, but they told you like when COVID jumped off that your constitution went out the window when Trump declared it a national emergency. Like technically all your constitutional rights went out the window, which is why they're creating they've been created quarantine camps. That's why they're coming up with these stupid laws and don't got to give you a reason to pass them. You just hear about them through word of mouth, and then you find out, oh, they actually are real. Like, because these people do what they want. That's what's going on, and they're fooling people along the way. Oh no, give these people, give them the right to go get guns. Give them the right. No, you don't have to have no permit. Then when people start getting killed, now everybody like, oh no, we need to take. But before it was, no, you shouldn't take our guns. Then people used to say, oh, Texas, they not going to clamp down on Texas because we known to have guns. Now they have a shooting out there. Now Texans are going crazy. Like what? You see what's going on?
Yeah, it's so true. Man. They're sick. Even the Foxies point about this security guard having in their like, what if they are, let's say, crisis actors? Then that means the government's sick. If this is a real situation, how sick in the head is this kid that you have a life-changing conversation with someone and still do it the next day?
Yeah, Murph, that's why I don't want us to go left with it like that, because that's what I do. I stir up the pot. But I'm going to say this before we can add the other queen and have her speak her mind as well. That I don't want to take away the sadness and the atrocity from it if there are people that have really suffered through this, the children and the adults. I don't want to make it so conspiracy theorist like, but we have to open up that third eye, that chakra, where we can see sight beyond sight and know that we are being played every day that we wake up and we deal with this entity out here, this corporation. We're going to be played no matter what.
They got people believing in climate change, and that's all a hoax. It could be proven to be a hoax.
No, it's not a hoax. It happens, but it's natural. It happens naturally.
It is natural. That's what the sun does. But they don't tell you that if you look through the rest of the solar system. Let's say the Earth is heating up, but they won't tell you that Pluto, Pluto, and Mars, and everywhere else is having the same. They don't tell you that part though.
Hey, fellas, real quick, we got Eve up here. Queen Eve, are you there with us, hon?
I am here. Salute to you, beautiful Lady Fresh, the beautiful Foxy, and the handsome men on the panel, John, Merv, Jay, and Mills Lane. To everybody that's in the chat and those that will be watching the rebroadcast. Yeah, I agree. There's so many things here. I wish I should have put some notes, but I also just want to jump on what Foxy was saying about it could be a play. Notice that, and the thing is that they run it right in front of our faces as if we're just so, like we're incapable of understanding the play. I wouldn't go as far as to say that it could be some conspiracy or some sort of like, crisis acting or something like that, because perhaps these are going, and like you are correct, Murph, if this is happening, it just really just showcases how sick our government is.
Exactly.
It always happens around election time that we have crises of this magnitude happen because they want to push forth their agenda. My thing is this: what would gun reform do with people that normally don't even have any business owning guns? They're going to still have access to it anyway. So what difference is it going to really make, especially for the people that are responsible enough to have them? That's not the issue. It's not the guns that kill people, it's the people that kill people,
It's a paperweight without a person.
Yeah, but it's sickening to know that we live in this country is the only country that has as many murders like this by way of handguns, because it shouldn't be that accessible like that. Yes, they do need to crack down. You know, you can go to um, a Cabela's or whatever, a gun store, and order a gun, and then they just have that little clause. You do hereby say that you can have this, you know, weapon and things like that, and you check a box, and then, hey, listen, you got a gun coming to your house. So we have to really crack down on things like that for sure. But I also want to get into, like, there was this old movie when John was talking about you know, how the nations are. Like, we got to think about things in its entirety. What's going on in the world on a global scale.
Hold on 1 second, Eve. Hold on 1 second. Can everybody mute their mics? Because I really want to hear what she's saying, and we got a mean echo in the background. Just unmute when you're ready to speak. I just want to make sure we can hear Eve's point. Go ahead, Eve.
Okay, thank you. Do you all recall that movie Doctor Strange? It was based on World War II, and the premise of it was to destroy the Earth. And so it's a really good to look at and just see what the whole situation is going on in this nation, in the world as a total. So it's like, okay, is this really a testament to what this movie is and what's going on right now in the world, not just on a nationwide basis, but on a global scale? There's so many variables to look into with this. The Black Lives Matter movement, I just find it to be atrocious. It's just a slap in the face, because where is Black Lives Matter when it needs to matter? Every day Black lives should matter, not when there's something that takes a precedence of, such as a killing of a mass murdering of Black people by the hands of a white person. Yes, we'll have those, but there's people that is in the community that's still killing each other every day. And it's not to take away the fact that it's not okay for them to come and impede in our community and do the things that they do. But we also have to hold them accountable, meaning Black Lives Matter, this organization that was designed because of a Black man being killed by the people that are supposed to protect us. We have to think about that. It's not happening. If you design such a structure, based on protecting the rights of Black citizens, because they are facing such an adversary with people that are served to protect us, and you're not even following through with that, it shouldn't. And it's been co-opted, but that's another story. I want to get into what Jay, I don't know exactly your name is just Jay. Now you're saying that everything just everybody has a turn. I don't really agree with that, but I respect what you're saying. Everybody has a turn when something happens. I think the Asian thing, that's agenda based. There's not a lot of Asian hate as it is Black hate in since the beginning of existence. Now we're talking about, since this nation was created, nobody has gotten as much hate, as much things that's happened to us like us.
Facts.
So we can't really put them in a category with us, like, because you don't see those things are happening to white people, so therefore we have to have this reform. Oh, Asian hate. Oh, they get knocked out a couple of times. Now this is on a video. It just came out of nowhere, did it not? Now all of a sudden they have reparations for them. What about reparations for Blacks that has been facing whatever happened to our 40 acres and a mule? What happened to that? We're still trying to get that. But then we can just easily sign a bill into order. Like, it wasn't even 3 months, and they were able to get that bill into play.
Right.
There's a lot of things to think about here. And let me tell you something. The agenda is just that, it's control. And while we say racism is a huge part of things, right? But the even bigger problem is elitism. And I'm gonna bow out on that.
You guys can come back in. I just wanted to make sure we can hear her, because it was a really bad echo.
Of course. I was just going to say, no matter what anyone believes, conspiracy, if you want to call someone that or not, just listen to some of the frustrations you hear from 7 people from different places, different backgrounds, different races. I am Caucasian, so you know what I mean. But I understand. I've seen. I I think there's such a divide because there's a whole other side of white people who don't believe these things are happening, and I really peeped it just recently with Buffalo. When it was all happening, I seen MSNBC, CNN flooded with what was going on in Buffalo. Naturally, I just said, let me flip over to Fox News just to see. They were talking about Ukraine. So I'm like, oh, so little Johnny's grandpa doesn't even know what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't know a kid went to this neighborhood specifically for that reason. So it's like that where this divide, you're seeing the wedge there with the media. The media has always been, I mean, I think everyone agrees the media is the problem, but along with, you know, but I just want to say great points. And that's what I just wanted to say, that I thought no matter what you believe in, look at the frustrations. I believe a lot of people have them these days.
It's so many different ways you can go with this, but it's because it's so mind-boggling, yet we've become so conditioned to it too. And that's not normal. It's not normal for a society to become conditioned to such, atrocities. But it happens so often than not that we're just like, okay, we're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna go on to the next tragedy.
Maine, to answer your question, no, I don't believe there were any Black children that were killed on Tuesday. The school, I believe, was a Spanish, like a Hispanic school. It was predominantly Hispanic.
Yeah, I think that's what I seen in the pictures too. I didn't see any Black children.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was I don't know if it was.
They're Mexicans.
It was Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It was nobody's downplaying
Hispanic, to be politically correct.
Nobody's downplaying the races of the children because it doesn't matter what race the children is. Like,
He asked a question, so I was letting him
It
know.
makes you.
No,
It
I
makes
would
you
just
realize.
saying, like, you're not downplaying the race of the children. You're just we're just saying, like, just pointing out the race. Sometimes you got to point out the race. It doesn't mean
It's crazy with, if you look at all these mass shootings, it's like none of them are in diverse areas. Every shooting is a specific race. It seems, this Texas is pretty much they might be a white kid in there, maybe a black kid, but it's mostly Mexican from the pictures we've seen. They're close to the border. Then you figure Buffalo is mostly African American. Going back to Sandy Hook was mostly Caucasian kids. It's like, why isn't this happening in the diverse neighborhood? It's always this suburb, this is a poor suburb, Texas, but Sandy Hook, they say, is a rich suburb. It's just crazy with that. Buffalo is weird because I don't understand. I was an 18-year-old white male at one point. If I could see, if I were racist and I felt I was some badass, why wouldn't I drive a few more blocks to where there's, quote, badasses instead of old ladies shopping on a Saturday night?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me at all. It's like, you're a man by doing that. Like, I've been saying since day one, you're wasting a cell. That's a smack in those families' faces. Now they got to pay taxes to keep him alive for the rest of his life.
And that's just
how's that justice? How's that
justice? You know what's crazy? A lot of times, I'm a firm believer in this. Man, the powers that be, the infrastructure, the structure that has been created, because you have multiple different structures. You have the structure that was set up for people like you, me, and everyone on this platform. And in the chat room, we're meant to go by. And then they have their own structure, set of rules, things they don't say, things they put out there for us to know that are really lies. Like, for instance, the guy who did the whole shebang in New York, the black man on the subway. Now, they said this man had a run-in with the feds a long time ago. They said he was labeled as a terrorist, or he was on the list, but he never actually did anything that would, deem him a literal terrorist, but they kept him on the list. Now, all of a sudden, this man was shooting up a subway or let off whatever. So a lot of times these people are planted here. A lot of times these people are paid to cause destruction, and it doesn't matter what race they are. They're placed there because they know, okay, if we place this white man here amongst this black community and does something treacherous, the blacks are going to get all uprising and say, oh, it was the white people. If we take these Asians and go do this, they're going to, that's what these people do.
Yeah.
They're it's a lot deeper. I'm gonna rest with that.
You make a great point on that, because I was just thinking as well, like these people are all part of some sort of society too. Wouldn't you think that there's monetization going on there? Like you would know, like, okay, you would be aware, because let's take for instance, I'm always referencing this point, but there were white supremacist cops that were arrested. They were swooped up because they had a group that were planning to attack black people. And so they were, I don't know if you guys recall that or not, but that happened about a couple of years back. But it was a raid on them, and they were, indicted on that. So I'm saying this. So where is that monitoring? It's right here on YouTube, because this is where they're forming, like the situation with Buffalo. He was on a YouTube group. The situation with this young man, there's stuff that they're a part of. It's a part of a group. So who's monitoring this?
I was about to say that. If we look at every single mass shooter of recent years, they all got something in common. So not only did they have social media accounts, but they posted their crimes before they even did it. But they're too busy watching us, making sure we don't speak freely, making sure we don't exercise our rights online, our freedom of speech. So watching the criminals that they're watching.
Yeah.
Can I just add on to something? I love to hear, Eve, you are dope and you are bringing those points in. Gotta say that.
Ain't she though?
Right? And I don't want to take away from the gentleman, but she's definitely because you guys are definitely Jay. Listen, y'all all are doing it. What I wanted to add on is that they are monitoring these people. Believe it. They have monitored my platform. They actually took a video down of 7 hours. And I'm thinking, how do these people, who's actually sitting down watching this stuff? And I was talking some real saucy things that definitely they said you were giving out mismedical information. When I didn't have, even though I didn't have the documents in front of me, they took that video down. So trust me, they're watching everybody. No matter how little your platform is, how big it is, because I was like, well, how come they didn't know who this kid was, but they know who Foxy Moon is? They took down my little 7-hour video. They went, and the stuff I was talking about was way deep into the hours. It wasn't even like the beginning. So they have somebody sitting there actually going over this over your video.
Not really. It's more AI most of the time. A lot of it.
I mean, it could be.
That's the algorithm.
Yeah, because I said some key words. Yeah, you're right. I said some key words, and they pick up on those words.
Think about like this. Your race or your religion, your organization, how you voted, you're pretty much put into a different class. And what class you're put into determines how much they monitor you. So if you're going to talk about stuff like that, you're going to talk about the flag from China, you go to the top of the list. You know what I mean?
It determines what you see on here.
That's exactly what it is.
Those, like John said class, so I'll use that word, but that determines what you see. What I see on YouTube is not probably the same as my next door neighbors if they go on YouTube. You know what I mean? The suggestions and things of that nature. My YouTube probably show me things
but because hold on a second. But because you watch,
go ahead.
Sorry, because you watch certain things, though, that's how they follow along with you. And so not my platform, but who I subscribe to. Definitely they talking that spicy stuff that gets their page, their platform completely taken out. So, and then I said some trigger words in there relating to certain things, and that's what set them off. And that's why they were like, oh, you're giving mismedical information. They asked me though, do you want to fight this? Do you want to dispute it? And I said no, because I didn't have my references to go back to give it to them. So I was like, y'all got this, and you gave me a slap on my wrist. I'm informed. They also send an email out saying you can't talk about certain stuff that's going out in overseas.
Wow.
So they're definitely monitoring, and we have to talk in keywords. We can't even use the other keywords. Right. We can't even use those code words anymore because they're hip to that game. So you got to switch up and say other things because they're like you said, the algorithm and the bots are in there and they're infiltrating and they're going through. It's definitely a matrix. It's really matrix out here.
Yeah, like you said, they're watching everybody except for apparently who they should be.
Right.
You know, like you said, like they're watching everybody, but think about it like this: if they're watching one of these mass shooters and they see their behavior, they see, wait a minute, that could be your guy. What they're going to do is send bots and certain actors their way to try to stir their behavior. Because if you think about it right now, what's going on, not just in America, but especially in the Western world, but the whole planet, psychological weapons that were tested in Afghanistan are being used right now on the public. So that's why we're going to see more of these events, especially in the future, especially this year when midterms coming up. This ain't going to be the last mass shooting.
That's the problem. These midterms, like 200 Senate members are up for vote, you know, so they're just trying to be like, look over here at this and this and this, and you're not worrying about who's doing what.
The monkeypox little
exactly when all of this stuff happens is during election time.
Yep.
Exactly.
Even when we sold pot, we knew that during the election shit was going to get tight. You might not find it. If someone had it, the prices might be jacked because it was election time. So that's just on a low rate level. That's a low rate level. That's not even saying, we're talking macro, not micro, you know? But I just wanted to say one thing to Eve's previous point. She had proposed the question, where's this monetization? I know that answer. It's 50 million watching CNN, 50 million watching MSNBC, 40 million watching Fox, or excuse me, 60 million. You know, so many people are watching these stations. Look at their YouTubes. They have huge numbers. People in the comment sections.
Those numbers are those aren't real numbers.
Man, yeah, you see a lot of bots, sure, but there are still real, you know. I see it on my time.
Started an online company, they're out of business in a month.
You really see the divide in this country in those comments.
CNN, like year on year in, they lose 50% of the viewers because everybody.
I had to leave Facebook for that reason. It was just too much.
The background he's on CNN. He's the CIA agent. A lot of these people are just agents of the CIA. And the CIA pushes the propaganda. But isn't it law the CIA is not supposed to operate on American soil? But somehow they get away with it. Somehow we allow it.
Hey, listen, one of the guys from William Casey back in '86 made a statement saying if the American public, if we'll know our disinformation program is true when everything the American public believes is false. So basically you have people running around going with narratives like, oh no, this, that, this is this, no, this happened. When really
everybody
they're
corrects each
telling
other on the
you
internet.
a lot of stuff is a psyop. A lot of stuff, some stuff is real, but some stuff, like when you start hearing every media outlet talk about it and they're all regurgitating the same information, line for line, word for word, everything, you know it's scripted. You know.
Have you seen that video? Have any of y'all seen the video he's speaking about where it's like, I'll just guess here, probably 20 different news stations across the country saying these same words. They cut from one to the next.
You know what I say that?
And it doesn't miss a beat.
98% of all news organizations are owned by the same people.
Same people. Yep. I don't know how much Ted Turner owns. Ted Turner owns CNN, TNT, CNN.
And they own everything.
Everything.
YouTube, Facebook, General Motors, Pickle Corporation, Coca-Cola, Pepsi.
It's crazy. We have
they own everything.
Anti-monopoly laws, and these companies are still falling to five people's hands. It's like Elon Musk, Bill, Gates. It's like five people. I tell everybody that. Everyone, even when they were Bill Gates, I'm like, yo, what about like Amazon has tripled their stocks during the quarantine? Like, are we not realizing Bezos is now going to space?
Created more billionaires under their pandemic.
He's like, let me just take a ride to space. Have a good Sunday. Like, what is happening here? We got
Can I
people
jump in,
starving.
John? Can I jump in? Can I jump in here?
Of course.
I just want to say, into Eve's point, where's the monetization? We are rewarded with trinkets to keep spinning around, to keep everything spinning around. So for us to talk about the shooting in Texas, to figuring out that it's all it could be psyops, figuring out that it can be all everybody, as far as the media taking time to force something to us to look at, all for us to continue to keep going. Some of us get rewarded for keeping news cycles of things going on, so that we're not paying attention to, like what John was saying about what's going on with these leaders meeting up. Is we can get rewarded for doing stupid things, doing illegal things. We can get rewarded for just causing chaos or keeping everything away from, like I said, the leaders and whoever they're trying to impress, whatever portals they might be trying to open, CERN, if anybody, hello, whatever they're trying to do.
I know about CERN.
Yeah. So whatever they want to do, as long as we keep dealing with other things and focusing on other things, we will get rewarded for not focusing on bad leadership. Like I said, my party, my political party is a solutionized party. My political party is you got Rhodes Scholars, you got all these people that can come up with things, electric cars. Electric cars been around for decades.
Since there's been,
now all of a sudden
controlled electric.
If you look at electric cars, though, you look at electric cars, you'll see that most of the money who benefits from that. That's the
and whatever.
And if you look at how you charge an electric car, it's still got to rely on a coal power plant.
We're still using coal. That's crazy.
We will get rewarded for keeping things going and keeping silliness going. Whether it be entertainment, whether it be education, whether it's rap, whether it's sports, whatever. We will continue to be rewarded. Some of us will be rewarded with trinkets. I tell this to my brother all the time because he never talks about racism ever. In all these years I've known him, I said, you never said anything about racism ever. I said, because you get rewarded with your trinkets. As long as we continue to, fight and fuss and have our disagreements, one side versus the other, red versus blue, whatever, as long as we continue to do this, we'll get rewarded.
You get a new iPhone every year, right? With a better screen than the last, 10 cameras, skinnier than ever. Keeps you distracted.
Great point.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Great.
Real quick, guys, I want to take a quick second to thank everybody for tuning into the show tonight. I think we're having a really great discussion. I just wanted to take a quick second, real quick, to promo an upcoming show that we're going to be doing on the Fresh Perspective and Behind the Bar. It's going to be a joint stream. We are going to be doing the interview of Maine the Milkman himself. That interview will be conducted by Lady Fresh on the Fresh Perspective. So look for this interview. You don't want to miss it. We are going to get down to some serious topics. We're going to really, really dive into who Maine the Milkman really is. And we're going to disperse some myths and some untruths, and we're going to get down to it. So make sure you tune in on June 4th. This is going to be an interview you don't want to miss. We'll have an official flyer out really soon. But make sure you tune in June 4th, interview of Maine the Milkman, the man behind the bar.
All right. Can't wait to see it.
That's going to be awesome.
That's gonna be really good. I think it's long overdue. I think
that's going to be awesome.
Years ago, but I think it'll be really good because I've seen a lot of growth in Maine.
I can't think of no one better to interview him because of your connection.
Thank
you.
And you're a great interviewer too. Don't get that twisted. But I mean, just your guys' connection. You have respect for each other. You know what I mean? So that makes it a different interview.
Yeah,
like when Barn interviewed me, it was a way different interview than when I even did like a more legit, sit down microphone, real cameras podcast. I did one of those. It was a little more loose. Like with Barn, that was like, that's my brother on here. You know what I mean? We have that connection. We had that respect where I was talking like everybody, that whole audience was like my best friends at that moment. I was just talking about bullshit that had happened online, getting in front of it, being as honest as possible, trying to move forward. And I just did it that way.
That's so important. And I think, and like you said, there's a mutual respect there. I know that Maine respects me, and I have a lot of respect for Maine. And he knows I have no problem. Absolutely none letting him know exactly what I think, how I feel, and if I think he's done something wrong. So contrary to popular opinion, I have no problem saying no, this ain't right.
Lady Fresh.
You should have went a different route, but I haven't.
That's what real friends do.
Lady Fresh, don't
Yeah.
hold back, Lady Fresh.
Oh,
I want to see him crying like R. Kelly. I'm fighting for my life, y'all.
I'm fighting for my life.
Nah, we don't want to make the milkman cry, but I probably could though. I probably could.
Hey. Let me just say that promo you just did was awesome for like off the top. I'm jealous as hell. That was a perfect promo.
Was it?
The way you just did that, like, was that written or you just did that off the top, right?
That was smooth. I ain't gonna lie.
What do you mean?
Just now. When you showed
I just looked at my email. Willie sent me the banner, so I just threw it up. Said what I need to
That's
say.
what I'm saying. I'm jealous because I do that too, but I do it in 5 takes sometimes, not as smooth as you. I'm like, that was good, nice, damn. A little jealous there, little friendly envy. You know what I mean? Friendly envy.
You so funny. But yeah, well, my goal is I like the interview process. Like I love the whole open panel discussion. And this got, the open panel part is more so for you guys. Like you see, I kind of step back and let y'all have it because the concept of the fresh perspective, it's a play on my name, but it's also getting the perspective of all the fresh faces that come on the show. So I want you guys to be able to come up here and talk what you need to talk, dialogue with one another, maybe come to some solutions, you know what I mean? And really just dive into some real topics. Like I don't want it to just always be fuck shit. My Wednesday.
I'm a fan of double entendre, so thank you.
Yes, right.
Can I just say one other thing that I loved? I heard it when Foxy first came in. She said, her third eye, like I think it was like focus. Maybe she used a better word. I'm paraphrasing, but I just thought that was so dope. What you said was like you said like my third eye couldn't stop. You know what I mean? I thought that was. I just wanted to say that way earlier and just remembered. I thought that was
happens
dope.
sometimes.
When Foxy's third eye start.
That happens.
Listen, that's what I mean. I get it. So when she said that, I was like, "That's dope." I was muted, but I was like, "That's dope."
Yeah, I was listening to her earlier, and she was getting deep. And that's why I wanted you guys to come up here because I wanted the different perspectives. And she, I knew she would have one. My girl Eve gonna have. She gonna come here and top the show.
Me and Eve had a great combo before, so I already know. Definitely.
Thank you.
And Mills Lane as well. John Kaluman.
I never had a combo with Mills, but I'm gonna sub up because I feel like we're kind of on that same wavelength. I guess to be cheesy, you would say same wavelength, but I just respect what he was saying.
Make sure you drop Mills Lane's
salute
in the chat. Also, John, Nadi, Eve. Make sure my mods that are here. Can you please make sure you put everybody's link in the chat? Want to make sure that we're supporting one another. And again, I'm so grateful to you guys because I always consider myself the new kid on the block. I've been doing great.
You're doing so great.
Thank you.
You're like a veteran, what they call the veteran rookie. You know what I mean? It's like the rookie who's already got like the old soul. You already know what you're doing. Like you just gave a first class promo. How are you a rookie? Like, you know what I mean? That's like hitting a 3 at the buzzer and going, I'm just a rookie. Like, no, that's not how it works.
I'm not a rookie at speaking. Like I don't have a problem talking, as y'all can see. I don't have a problem talking.
That's why I've always subscribed to you. I love it.
I am a rookie when it comes to YouTube and understanding the do's and the don'ts, what's right. And that's why I count on, I have my select few that because I can't have too many people in my ear. I was just talking about that with Maine the other day. Like I have my select few that I go to for like real authentic advice for what I need. But like you guys, I rely on y'all a lot to really like come in and give me knowledge as well, because I want to be well-rounded. I want to have a good understanding of how YouTube works. So I appreciate you guys coming in and giving your perspective on everything and always encouraging me. Like you guys always encourage me. I haven't gotten the trolls yet. I'm sure it's coming. But as far, since the show started, I think this is episode 6, maybe? I don't know. thick as
It
stick.
took me 2 years to learn this lesson, so you're way ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And I had the best teacher ever. That nigga always in trouble. So,
But just like you said, with too many, I'll just say, too many birds chirping. We'll paraphrase it as that. But you have to have that select few. You can have like maybe 3, I'd say, just to have 3 countering opinions and then make an opinion based off of those, like with yours. That's your 4.
The main
And you're
thing,
married, so naturally fresh. Like for me, it's Kells. For you, it would be fresh. Then you would go to like Maine. I would go to Barn. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to take all those perspectives.
Circle. I said I don't even got a circle. I got a triangle.
Yay.
you have a tribe. You have a tribe.
You know what's funny about that Lady Fresh? Like I said, like, I think I'm the biggest rookie up here. But you know what I did the other day? I uploaded the same wrong video 3 different times. All because I didn't take my time and check.
Listen,
So,
here's a trick. Stop and just delete the messed up one.
What's that?
I said you got to stop and delete the messed up ones right away. I do that with. I'll be trying to get a video. I'll have 2 and put up the wrong one twice. I'm like, I should have just deleted the wrong one and just kept the edit only.
I want to just say before I
got to learn that. That's what I need to learn next is doing my pre-record so that when I'm not able to go live, because I get stressed out if I can't honor my Wednesday and Saturday commitment.
Yeah.
I'm like stressed out. I'm like, okay, I know I'm tired. I've only had 3 hours of sleep in the last 36 hours, but I need to do a live because I need to hit the algorithm. I need to stay consistent and I don't want to disappoint my viewers. And I love doing it. But
And I would say that too. The main thing about this, though, because I do want to do the pre-records myself and just get my edit game up and stuff, because I don't want to go live and stuff because I just, play with it. But then I get some in that mode, like, okay, I really want to produce some content for real, but I don't want to just be sitting up here on a live. So I do get that. And the main thing in this game is consistency. There's going to be days that you don't want to get up here and do it like you didn't want to Saturday, but you still did it. And we knocked it out the park. You knocked it out the park. You made a great content and you continue to do that. It's like you just keep getting higher each time. You keep setting the bar for yourself higher and higher. And that's how you get there. And you will get where you need to be and where you want to be sooner than you think you will, as long as you just stay the course. And I'm telling you, you're really good at this. You have a knack for this. So keep at it, sis.
Thank you. See, it's stuff like that makes
you're a natural at it though.
Because a Saturday, that was a true test for me. I was beyond exhausted, but like I said, I have a level of commitment to this to be successful. I always have, even with the first show. The level of commitment has always been there because I like for things in my life to be successful. I mean, how many people get up and do something and say, I don't want it to be successful? That shit don't make no sense. Right.
You got to take it serious from day one, or no one else will.
Day one, from the conception of the idea, because
the second
even allow
this was a meme page. My name was a meme page that I just converted into my comedy. Those two things formed together, and that's what this YouTube is. I had 50,000 subs on Facebook. I was like, let's see what YouTube could do, and I left Facebook. You know what I mean? That page just got shut down. I had like 50,000 when it's not the same. Like, I love the YouTube community so much more. More. But you got to remember one thing: lives used to be a treat. Like if you used to watch content creators, and even the more popular ones, lives are a treat. Like you see a live and it's like, oh shit, this guy who does my favorite comedy videos, this is real life right now. Like that was the treat. Nowadays we have panels and conversations, so it's kind of morphed and changed along the way.
Yeah, you can't do that on Facebook.
I put up real quick, and then I'll let you go ahead. I think John was trying to speak. But I just put up my email address on the screen, thefreshperspective22@gmail.com. Please, guys, use that email if you have topics that you would like me to cover. I'm still working on a request that I got. Someone wants to learn how to do a home garden, start a home garden 101. So I'm working with somebody behind the scenes to be able to get that show for you guys. But that is what this show is all about, delivering the content that you guys ask for. So if there's something that you want me to cover, send me an email. What I need most is music, original music, uncopyrighted music.
Oh, I got like 52 songs.
Go ahead, send it to me. And I try to feature a different artist. On each episode. I'm not able to do it right now because people are not sending me music, but send me music. Tell people to send me music. I do a lot of stuff on Clubhouse where I try to get artists to send me their stuff. So I'm in the process of doing that as well. But use the email. Send me your topics that you want to hear. Me talk about. Even if it's open panel or if there's something you want me to interview about, and send me music. So.
Oh, and send me music. Don't forget the music.
Don't forget the music.
Yeah, because I kind of make like YouTube music. Like if you look at the options they offer, it's trash. It's just like there's not even no change ups in the music. The instruments sound goofy. Like the stuff I make is like a singer could take my song and sing a song, or a rapper could rap, or a rock singer could. Like I do it. I used to be in a band and play drums, so I know how to count music. You know what I mean? So it's like I give change ups and I do tons of genres. Okay, I will.
To me, I want artists too. If you know a rapper, a singer, somebody who has something dope that you just feel like is not out there, I love to be.
Yeah, definitely. I got a few.
I want to interview them. I want them to be able to play their music. I want them to talk about what inspired them to make this music. And then, guys, I don't do the request for cash apps, but if anything is resonating with you guys tonight, don't hesitate to hit a sister up at I Am Lady Fresh. Hashtag I Am Lady Fresh. Hit us.
Time is money.
Time is money for real. I'm gonna be going to sleep soon.
Closed mouth don't get fed.
That's right.
We joke on main show about him having the $2 minimum, so I told him I had to step it up. It's $3 minimum over here.
There you go.
You can't give me.
I always feel that way. If you feel I'm providing content and you have it, that's why I always tell everybody. Because I only got $3. That's what, and I'm like, I'm not telling you, I'm not pointing a gun to your head. I'm saying so in my like slogan, if you will, I always add that at the very end. You know what I mean? I tell everybody like likes, subs, shares, and word of mouth is currency on YouTube, because it really is. Like that's what you got to do. Like rest in peace to you. Yes.
Hey Murph, BDB says Hot 16.
I spit a Hot 16. I don't have any music right now. You want me to go a cappella?
That's what BDB said.
Let me think. I don't know if I got a 16 anymore. I could probably remember like an 8 maybe. Let me think.
Give us.
I got a few. I got like one song. It's called "No Vacancy," which means like no room for a hotel. So it's kind of. I think might be fitting for this. It takes time though, because I gotta try to remember the first word. That's all. I haven't rapped in like 20 years.
Oh really?
Okay, I got
this. And look at Maine putting you on the spot.
Hey, I'm a showman. That's what I do. So
let's hear it.
And let me just say, this is what VH1 Storytellers. When I did rap, like I had a kid in my neighborhood that I rapped with. We were both young dads, only 2 white guys in the neighborhood, so it was kind of fitting, you know what I mean? But I could never find music for this song. I met producers, so I never did nothing with it. So I will say that this doesn't exist other than the acapella. Okay. But I was like, another day, another dollar rubbing on my empty pockets. Wish my dude would come through so I could get a little profit. How we ever gonna help the state of our nation when even a hustler is feeling inflation, frustration? I'm racing and pacing. I'm not Eminem, but I'm patiently waiting. It's a shame. Shit stays the same. Pac's been gone and we still need change. It's strange. You worry more about your range than saving the days. Something like that. I remember some other parts.
I like that.
That was decent.
I try to.
I like that.
I don't know. Okay, I have another one that's kind of inspired by "Keep Your Head Up." So I'll just
Kenzo. That was an 8 at best.
Yeah, that's what. Oh, listen, 8's the score. I'll take it. I just couldn't find music I liked.
Yeah, I'm being facetious. No, but that was dope. But
he said he ain't rapped in
yeah, off of freestyle. That was dope. 8.5. 8.5.
I'm trying to remember the one. Because it's inspired by "Keep Your Head Up," and it's even mentioned. I just gotta remember the first word again.
You're gonna have to put some music to that and record that, bro.
Yeah, this joint's called "Food for Thought," but I gotta remember the first word. I don't remember.
I'll get the likes up. Get the likes up.
Get the likes up and hit her cash app.
I just gotta try to remember a few of the bars. I remember the beginning.
Okay, I've got to drop down
Eve, thank you so much, sis, for coming up. You always are like the first one in the chat, the first one. If you send me a text behind the scenes, like, "Where's the show?" I'm like, "Tomorrow."
Eve is the best. Eve is the
Salute to Eve, yo.
She's like, "It's midweek. Where's the show?" I'm like, "Tomorrow." So thank you so much for your support.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I love it. I love what you're doing. So I'll still be here in the chat and stuff. If you're here still here, which you'll probably be closing out soon, you can always cap it off about
the Celtics are playing right now. The Celtics are playing right now, and this is a very important game. So I'm gonna have to wrap it up very soon so that I can get the end of it, and I gotta get on the road at 4 a.m. So
I don't have to finish, you know. Main God is Phil.
I just want to say salute to you, Murph. I'm glad to see you back on the scene with the gangster land.
Thank you.
You know, you're back inspired. I love to see it. John Illuminati, keep doing your thing. You're welcome, sweetheart. John, you keep doing your thing. You stay the course with it, and you'll get where you need to be. Your editing skills are pretty doggone cool for you just to be starting. So you're in the game. Miss Lane, I would love to see your content out here, and really want to get in there and see what your perspective is. I don't believe I've ever been over there, but I will start.
You're gonna be in it for a treat.
You'll like it.
Yeah, and the beautiful Foxy Moon, you know, I'll catch you every now and again on Instagram and stuff, giving it up for us. So I love what you do. You know, you're a very deep person. All of us here are some deep thinkers, and I really appreciate that. Black, majestic, white, majestic, you know, it's all just on one accord. You know what I'm saying? When we come for the common good, and that's just, you know, being able to exact our freedom of speech and be able to get along in one accord. The chat, even the trolls, you guys.
Jay wants you to come back to the chat right away.
Yeah, that's why I call him a troll. I said even the troll, Jay. Everybody brings something to your show, so it's like I appreciate that. But with that, I gotta go. See you this week.
Thank you, darling. I appreciate
Bye,
it.
beautiful.
Good talking to you, Eve. Thank you.
Salute,
Bye.
That was dope.
Look at Fresh updating me on the score.
I ain't gonna lie, I was a little nervous, but I ain't mad at Jay Savage. That's a fair assessment. He said, not as bad as I thought it would be, but not for me. I could take that all day.
You know, Jay Savage talk crap versus trash. You know, behind the bar with his ass.
I probably should have dropped the other one because, like I said, it mentions Tupac.
Behind the bar put up fire signs.
Yeah, he was probably burning me because he's making a clip.
Oh, Lord.
It's gonna be a new drop.
Oh, yeah, he'll have a drop on you by the morning.
At least that's what I like about
it. If he didn't, I just inspired him too. So, you know, that's the way the universe works.
That's what's cool about behind the bar. He's honest, so he's not gonna pat you on the back and tell you.
That's what it is. Look, you can ask anybody. I never talk to, even you see people like in quote my community. Some don't like Maine because he's so I have never had, even before I knew who he was. One time I said, "Who is he?" Because I was just meeting Larry. Then I found out who he was. I would frequent here and there. Then I started going. Like I never had an issue with me because I understood his character, who he is. I mean, character as a person, not like online character.
But both, really.
Yes. Yeah. True.
Both,
true.
Really. Understanding that there is a character online.
You have to. That's why I call myself the Dirty Kenzo. I'm not, like my name's Murph.
You can't take this shit too seriously. I mean, you can't. Now, you know, when there's people violating to the point of like real violation, that's different. But you don't, I just don't see myself allowing that to happen because I can't really take people that I've never seen before. That's it.
I think that's what's the difference between quote trolls and regular people. You're just built different.
Imagine waking up mad over avatars.
Imagine that I wanted to hurt.
That's insane to me. Yeah. That is crazy. I have never seen
avatars. Wake up begging on avatars.
Like you're not even mad at like the person that you see. Like you see Lady Fresh and everybody else's avatars. How I'm gonna wake up mad at one of y'all?
Yeah. That's crazy.
That is insane.
You got the avatar stuck in your head. Ooh, that's cool. You have it. You just mad as
That's what I'm saying. I can't wake up tomorrow and say that someone has me on here, a stranger, essentially, I never physically met, has me so angry. You know, I'm going to say, hey, I heard your grandpa just died. Like, what? No, that's not, I would never do, you know what I mean? I can't wake up and be that guy in the chat.
That's why I troll so much. I don't take it seriously. That's why I troll so much, though, because
it's easy to take this shit too serious, and it gets crazy. It's better to stay away.
Now and then I get mad, but most of the time I'm drinking. But do I get mad? Do I troll, or just troll? You know what I mean?
You're honest.
Let me shout out a couple cash apps. Thank you so much, Jay Savage. My Eve, thank you. She sat up here on panel while she was cash apping me. And
hey, multitask.
thank you so much for your cash app, Maine the milkman. So you got, I really enjoyed this conversation. If I could let it go on all night, I would. But
yeah, I feel
you know how it go. Today was a
Yep,
day, tomorrow ain't. So, did anybody have any last words as it pertains to, the topic at hand? Any advice for me? If anything that you feel like we can do better on the platform, open panel, like anything you want to say, before we.
I would say people pay attention to your surroundings because we're in the season of false flags and mass shootings. You know what I mean? Pay attention to your surroundings. They're gonna look at the hip places like schools, mosques, synagogues, sporting events, any public place, malls, shopping centers, you name it. Any moment of opportunity.
You should always be on your P's and Q's.
Your Second Amendment, you might want to do that right now because you never know. I'm pretty sure them parents woke up, they didn't know that they're gonna have to bury their kids in about a week. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why parents have to bury their kids. The kids have to bury their parent. So just pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention to what's going on in the world because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, a lot of decisions being made, and it does affect us. Like pay less attention to what's going on in Hollywood and pay attention to these Nazis that's burning this planet into the ground.
Facts. Facts. Mills Lane, you got something for me?
Thank you for letting me up on the panel. And asking me up on the panel, and I was like, I'm not going to be camera ready, so I never turned the camera on. You're the only one that had to be camera ready, and you are.
I try not to talk behind the avatar. Like I don't know. That just seems weird.
That's fine.
For y'all, like to be the host and to stay behind, especially if you don't have a panel. I'm like, people just want to look at the circle. So I don't know.
As a host, like when I'm doing my show, I definitely keep the camera on as much as possible. But I'm glad. I mean, this topic, it was a tough topic, but and my heart goes out to all those families. But we did get a chance to talk. We did get a chance to provide perspectives, and and like I said, I live in a world of solutions. So solutions is what's needed for our business needs, which is taking care of ourselves and each other.
All right. I know, Kenzo, I keep muting your mic, but that sound.
Listen, I don't mind. I understand.
It'll come through, but I'm not silencing you. I'm just muting.
No, not at all. Not at all. I wanted to say salute to everybody. I think this was crazy. We're almost 2.5 hours in. There wasn't one argument. So, that's kind of a blessing in this day and age now. We have to embrace the little things.
This is the United Nations of ladies.
It was united the whole time. We overtalked each other just a little bit, but that happens. It's natural. People don't want to lose their train of thought. And I understand. I thought there was some great points from everybody. So, I take whatever I can, out of everything. I was cammed up for like 5 minutes, I will say. But I smoked too much to stay cammed up.
Somebody in the back. Oh, okay.
But I wouldn't have any critiques for the show at all. I think you like I said, you a rookie veteran. You just have the veteran swagger to what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I'm still learning. I'm a work in progress, but I appreciate you guys.
You handled the panel perfectly. Like you said, you kind of left it to the floor, essentially. You know what I mean? You dropped that promo perfectly right in the middle, calmed everybody down, boop, dropped the promo. And when we came back, it was great flow coming back, too. So that's what I'm saying. I can't think at any point where I would even give a positive critique. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, this is what I would call flawless if I dropped alive. So, respect to that.
Thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you, Kenzo. Really, it does.
And like I said, I really, I appreciate you asking me and Barn. I know he couldn't do it with the job, but I was, honored from jump. You seen I dropped a little promo. I was so excited.
So I shared it on my IG. I was like, I be getting all a little teary-eyed and stuff. I be like, dang.
Hey,
like,
I say it on mine. I say it on mine on my ending every day. I'm like, yo, let's. You don't even have to send a Cash App. Send a IG DM and say, what a great show. You don't know what. That serotonin blast on your brain is crazy as a content creator. That's what you need. You need them good days to trump them bad days when you're on here and you're like, I've absorbed too much bullshit. I got to get off. My head's buzzing. You know what I mean? So
is such a dope soul. So I think we have, I believe this is Urban Therapist. Is that your name?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Well, hey, good evening.
Yeah, salute to you, Lady Fresh, and salute to everyone on the panel. Yeah, the boy, he wanted me to come up real quick, so I was like, all right, I come up real quick.
Oh, man.
He's
always up to something.
No, but it sounds like you're ready to end the show, though. So
we are wrapping up, but if you have something that you wanted to add before we did, by all means, please do.
Oh no, not really. Just that I had did a live about the situation with what happened with Texas yesterday. It's a very tragic event that happened to us, and I actually reside in the state of Texas. So the whole state right now is on mourning right now for the loss of them children and everyone else as well too who's involved in that. So the state they're doing everything possible to offer mental services to help everyone cope with this event and everything like that. Then the bigger talk that I'm hearing right now in the streets is that they're trying to regulate gun control, and they also having this talk about enforcing stricter border control too, because the situation happened about like 40 miles away from the Mexican border. So they be having different talks about that as well too. So we just tuning in.
Okay, well, I gotta make sure that my mods circulate your information in the chat. I haven't gotten a chance to catch one of your shows yet, but I have seen you cam up on a couple of mains episodes, so I've gotten to hear you speak.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's no worries. No worries.
Now we all support one another over here, so I always say it's the United Nations of Lady Fresh. Like everybody's welcome. If you have a perspective, as long as we keep it respectful and we allow each other to speak, by all means, get it off your chest.
Yeah. What I mean? Absolutely. But I will do my best to try to catch another one of your episodes too, and I'll try to cam up again, and we'll have one good dialogue. Okay.
Definitely. I try to do a Saturday and Wednesday show. Saturday might fluctuate onto a Sunday depending on what's going on, but I try to do interviews or more content and dedicated topics on Wednesdays, and then on Saturdays is a lot more laid back. You might be drinking and just BS talk, but it just kind of depends on how I'm feeling that day, that week. I'll plan my episodes on Wednesday. Saturday we just kind of try to have a good time. So
absolutely.
Hopefully you won't be a stranger. You'll come back.
Oh yeah,
I'd like to hear that as a viewer of yours, Lady Fresh. I'd like to see maybe an interview with him being on in Texas. That I think his perspective is different maybe than we're all East Coast guys. I know I am rather. I know Mills said he was Philly as well, so we're East Coast. So I'd love to hear prayers for Texas. First off, that's the last thing I wanted to say. But as he's coming up, I'd love to hear more of his perspective, maybe sometime soon. As a viewer, that's just a suggestion.
What part of Texas are you in?
I'm in North Texas.
Okay. So Fresh and I are traveling down to Texas in a couple of weeks, actually. Okay. So I'm hoping to be
travel.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be able to get some footage just being down in Texas, temperature, and I mean we won't be near San Antonio, we'll be in Houston.
Houston area?
Yeah, we'll be in Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, so I love Houston. I love Texas. I love Dallas. I love Texas. Couldn't live there. Too hot. But
I don't travel for anything, so I'm jealous. I'm like, I've never really left the East Coast. I've only been down in North Carolina.
Love to travel. That's where we're different. I love to travel. I'm a travel agent.
Oh, I love to. It's just
travel too. That's how much I like it. How much I love it.
Life keeps me in this weird hamster wheel where it's like when I have the money to vacation, I don't have the time, and when I have the time, I don't have the money. So it's like this ongoing, tug of war trying to get to like down the Jersey Shore when I lived in Philly. It's like I have a car, I have money, why can't I go? Now I got to work on a Saturday, do inventory. Weird. So I don't get to travel as much as I love travel. I like driving. You know what I mean? Like I know people. I've always loved driving. I'm like, look, I don't mind driving to work. Oh, you need someone to drive the truck today? I got you. But again, Lady Fresh, thank you so much for the opportunity. Great combo with everybody.
Salute.
No problem. Anytime. Thank you again. John Mills. What was the brother's name? I missed it. Brother, he just came up.
Urban therapist.
Urban therapist. Salute. My name's Murph, but I go by Kenzo. Nice to meet you. Like I said, I'd love to hear.
Kenzo. Always good talking to you.
I'd love to hear more of your perspective, brother, for sure. I'm an East Coast guy, so you're kind of more on the ground than I am.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I did do a response video on my channel, so you could want to check that out. During your leisure time. But I'm more than welcome to do an interview with Lady Fresh as well to give my perspective.
That would be awesome.
I would love that. That
would be awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As a viewer of yours, I'd say I would be interested. Just to give you my fresh perspective, real quick. I would definitely tune into that just because, like I said, where I'm from Philadelphia. You know what I mean? It's like I just told you I don't travel. So as I felt by the events, I'd like to see what someone from that area, because we spoke of a lot of things up here in the beginning of, gun laws and pretty much everything we got into. But we started around that area, and I'd love to hear that, in an interview format. That would be amazing, as a viewer.
Absolutely. But just real quick, I could tell you that we really are mourning in Texas because this is not the only time this event happened. A couple of weeks ago in Dallas, there was another mass shooting as well too, where this black man went into a Asian populated neighborhood and opened fire at a nail shop. Yeah. So we was already dealing with that, and now we're dealing with this situation as well too.
Wow. And there was just back in October, I think it was October, where there was a school shooting there as well, with a young man, I believe, got beat up, left, retrieved a firearm, and came back. So it's just, it's a really unfortunate situation. And as a parent, I can't not talk about it. I can't not try to figure out how to explain to my 8-year-old that someone her age was killed senselessly at what's supposed to be one of the most safe places to be. Our children spend more time at school than they do at home. That's supposed to be a safe place. And so
that's so true.
Yeah, it's for me, I think I'm coming more from a parent perspective, as far as, just talking about it, trying to understand it, bringing awareness. And I loved all the different perspectives that we got tonight. What Foxy Moon had to say, Eve coming and dropping in gems. Like, all you guys really came through with your fresh perspectives. And you really gave a different take on how to view this situation. And I do agree, we can't be blinded because there is a bigger agenda. There's things that we are being we're being blinded from. So we definitely need to pay attention. You guys made really good points on that. But I couldn't let today go by without acknowledging the victims, acknowledging the state of Texas, just the fact that you guys have experienced this so many times. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
So many times. It's like the second you start to kind of get away from one event, something else comes and happens. So, we were 10 days away from the Buffalo shooting, So we went from one end of the spectrum with our elderly being gunned down senselessly to our children. And it's not okay, and it's not, so far, it doesn't appear to be the legal guns that are killing these people. It's the illegal guns. It's the buying them black market. So that is what we need to figure out, how to stop that. How to, you would think by loosening regulations, but I don't know. I don't know, how do we protect our children? Do we have armed security in the schools? Is that going to be safe for our children, or is that going to create more chaos? I really don't know. As a parent, I don't know how I feel about a teacher with a gun in the drawer. But looking at the events from Tuesday, I feel like, what if the teacher did have a gun in the drawer?
Yeah, absolutely.
What
Absolutely.
if the outcome could have been different? It's the what ifs as a parent that kind of drives you crazy. So as like the journalist, I need to ask the questions. I need to get the feedback and get the fresh perspectives, So I appreciate you guys for giving me that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing too. When I was on talk about this topic, my daughter, she was actually in the chat while I was doing the show, and she was telling me that even at her school, the kids there was mocking the event. There was mocking it. There was laughing about it and everything. And she was hurt by it. She was saying, "Well, why would y'all laugh about other kids being murdered? That is not right." Then she was telling me that, of course, I already knew this, but she was telling me that the school doesn't have, like metal detectors or anything like that, the school that she go to. And now it has her in a space where she feels uncomfortable without attending school. But thank God today was her last day of school. But she was feeling real uncomfortable with this whole situation and the kids laughing, and she don't know what to expect. To be honest with you, looking at this, from professionally and as a father, I don't know what needs to give. I don't know if they need to reform gun control laws. I don't, but however, I do know that they need to advocate mental health for real within the school systems and everything, like for sure. Advocate mental health, because perhaps someone could have been there with that kid, and someone could have helped that kid go through his traumatic experiences at school. There's a lot of what ifs.
I agree. John, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Did you have anything that you wanted to say before we wrapped?
No, you're right though, but I don't think gun control will be the answer, because if you look at gun control, it hasn't really worked. You look out throughout history, when Mao took the guns from China, they showed that they end people's lives. See, I'm starting to like being a rookie. I'm starting not to say the K word, but if you look at throughout history, every time they took the guns, if you look at Nazi Germany took the guns from the Jews, what happened to them? And people used to say, Australia, they took the guns. See, aha. We got a good example. No, you don't, because people were getting thrown into quarantine camps. Like a lot of stuff they do overseas, they can't do that stuff here. Why? Because we got our Second Amendment. I mean, it sucks that kids had to unfortunately pass away in that event, though. That sucks. But at the same time, that's just one side of the coin. You gotta look at the people who are the ones pushing the gun control and what they're doing. Like right now, they're actively tearing society down. That's why you see a lot of these events. That's why you see the crime rate raising. You see it in the gas prices. You see it in everything else. You see it in the food prices. You see the empty shelves. They're tearing everything down to build their own system. Their new world order. You know what I mean? So gun control. That's like that gun control will really not help us in the long run. If we look at the world, if we get it right, especially us as Black people, we get it right, that will resonate to everybody else. People follow early. Hey, they're united. They see it. People fall in line with us. Then the rest of the world will get it though, and that's game over for the new world order. But
wholeheartedly.
And the only thing, and the reason why people should care about that is because to the trajectory we're on right now, we will stand in a few years where we're looking at 2 billion deaths, 2 billion, but they want to get rid of 7 billion people. Those are my words. Those are their words. I didn't make this ain't no conspiracy theory. This is stuff that they're openly talking about.
Yeah, openly, and also written under the Georgia Guidestones, correct?
Exactly. That too. Not only did they write it there, now they're openly talking about it. If you pay attention, I mean, I know it's fake news media and everything else, but if you pay attention, because you know that they own the media. Sometimes they'll hide their planes and they'll hide their planes and their plans in plain view. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll read them articles and I'll get an idea of what they're doing and what they're planning.
Well, I know I learned a lot tonight. And I'm so grateful for each person that hit the link. I had, invited a couple people up, and I got more than I expected. And I'm so grateful to each one of you, each perspective. And I want to thank you guys for coming out. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I think this was a good conversation, a much needed conversation. I know it made me feel better. I felt like I needed to ask questions. I needed to discuss it with my people, and I did it. So I'm grateful for that. And hopefully all you guys will come back to the Fresh Perspective again and join one of my open panels.
Oh, no doubt.
Don't be a stranger. Mills
course.
Lane, you and I, sir, I want to do an interview with you as well.
Oh, sure, no problem.
So we're gonna shake this summer up. I'm gonna just fill my calendar with interviews until
I'm gonna drop down in the chat. I'm gonna drop down in the chat, but it's been a very dope panel.
John, thank you. This was my first interaction.
Thanks for having
with you,
me.
I believe, and
second. On your old show. Yeah, on your old show. I was talking about pretty much some of the same stuff.
Yeah, I was there.
You were there too? Okay. Yeah.
Was it the panel when we were talking about the same topic?
It wasn't the same topic, but somehow it went on to pretty much like the same lines. We're talking about world events.
Okay. Yep. If any of you guys have not, make sure y'all watch some of the old episodes of the Rise and Fresh show. That was where I got my start, and it was a really good show. And that's how you're able to get the fresh perspective. So make sure y'all watch those old shows. Let me know what y'all think. So you guys, thanks again. I'm gonna wrap the show. I will probably not be back on this Saturday. I'm gonna let Maine have Saturday. Thanks, guys. Good night.
Thank you.
So I don't know if I'm going to do a live on Saturday. There's a big event on Saturday. I don't know. Maine, are you talking about it yet? Like, I don't even know. I don't, did you announce it yet? I mean, are you marketing it? What you doing, Maine? What you doing? Maine, I need you to answer me. But Maine's having a show. It's supposed to be a really good versus battle. So I'm gonna let BDB have that one. Jay Savage, you've been acting up. I'm gonna put you in timeout. It's gonna be another versus battle on Saturday. So you guys make sure you tune in to BDB. It's gonna be Behind the Bar versus Fresh Breezy. And it's going to be Philly versus New York. Not quite sure how Maine plans to win that one unless Fresh just picks every wrong song in the world. He would have to pick every wrong song. It's just not enough music out of Philly. I'm sorry. I love you, all you Philly people. I love y'all. But I just don't feel like it's enough for him to be able to win that. They probably should have mix that up a little bit so it'd be a little bit more fair. So I'm expecting Fresh to take that win fair and square because that brother knows his music. So what did you guys think about today's episode? Can I get some fire emojis in the chat? Let me know that y'all with me. Let me know that y'all enjoyed the content tonight. It was kind of I don't know, I woke up and I needed it. And so we did it. So I appreciate you guys. I just want to shout out one more time the Dirty Kenzo. Thank you for agreeing to do the show. I reached out to you and you was like, I'm on it. I'm here. Let's do it. Shout out to ATG Barnes. I asked him as well. He had to work, but he popped in, gave some support, and we're definitely going to do something together in the future. My Eve. She's one of my biggest supporters. Thank you so much for coming in and dropping your gems. Mills Lane, I have so much respect for you. I'm really glad that you're back on YouTube. I'm looking forward to the show. I love what you're doing, and I love the perspective and the solutions that you give. So thank you so much for camming up today. Jay, Observer, I don't know if I've ever been on panel with you before, but I have seen you in the chat and I've seen you on other platforms. Thank you so much for coming up, giving your perspective on everything. Hopefully you won't be a stranger. So thanks again for your support. And my Foxy Moon. I heard you earlier, girl. You was dropping them gems and giving people something to think about. I always appreciate seeing you. Thank you for coming up on the show and giving the female perspective along with Eve. So I just want to let you guys know again, as I always say, I'm super appreciative. Thank you for the cash apps I received today. You guys are amazing. Hopefully, I'm bringing you good content. Hopefully you're enjoying it and you'll keep coming back. So I'm not going to keep y'all much longer. I don't know if the game is still on. I'm going to go try to catch the end of it. If it is, let's see. I guess I will put up the banner for the June 4th interview of Maine the Milkman, the man behind the bar. I'm sure it will be on both platforms. We're going to be doing an interview where we get to, really get down to the nitty gritty with Maine the Milkman. We're going to talk. We're going to really talk and get to know the man behind the bar. So June 4th is the date. We haven't set a time yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. Make sure you tell everybody. Make sure you share the stream. Post it on Instagram. Get everybody you know to watch this live. It's gonna be dope. So shout out to my chat. Miranda Sapphire. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, Dirty Kenzo, thank you for camming up. Lotus and Fresh Breezy, thank you. And Maine, thank you for modding today and dropping everybody's links. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. I'll see you guys soon. Y'all have a good night.
Been a tremendous blessing to me, my family, my life, and I appreciate it.
Let's cut that back.
Like I said, I always try to express my appreciation, to everybody. It's a lot of
perspective. Real empowerment, you better be respected. Lady Fresh on the motherfucking check-in. Weezy got her back, she stay protected. Just fresh perspective. Real empowerment, you better be respected. This for the demons, it's to get you through the night now. Not for the haters that they don't come outside.
Rock bottle on the track, boy.
Yeah. Lady Fresh, keep it real, and that's a fact. She gon' tell it like it is, that's just that on that. Yeah, that's just that on that. This the fresh perspective with Lady Fresh. Lady Fresh, keep it real, and that's a fact. She gon' tell it like it is, that's just that on that. Yeah, that's just that on that. Tune in every week, rockin' with Lady Fresh.
Tweaking, finesse it, all the games, I'm not to be messed with. Y'all be playing, shit so temporary. One in the chamber, one up, I need leverage. Y'all can We flip the script, no director. I'm tryna break the bank while y'all break up. Too much at stake, yeah. That's a fact. Imagine that, watch the close ones. They'll stab you in your back. I'm in my bag, running up a bag. Whole lot of cash shit going on. I'm in my bag, running up a bag. Whole lot of cash shit going on. When I step out, I'm giving them chills. Run your bag up, and you know the feel. You know I'm up next. I'm running up checks, stepping on next. Know I had to flex. Finna ice on my neck, put my man in baguettes. Buy my mama a jet. You bitches real choosy, could never be like yo. Fucking with no goofies, just a big groupies. At the end of the day, you niggas gon' choose me. Running up a bag, whole lot of cash shit going on. I'm in my bag, running up a bag, whole lot of cash shit going on. You'll see I'm coming strong, like I can't do no wrong. If you ain't feel me before, you gon' feel me now. I'm making big moves now, giving you bitches something you can talk about. Check the progress, dealt with the losses. Now I move flawless, a bigger bag now. Yeah, I'm focused. They try to count me out, but I'm chosen. This life has just begun. If you want a problem, my teammates hold them guns. They slang them just for fun. So when they come, don't run. I'm in my bag, running up a bag. Whole lot of cash shit going on. I'm in my bag, running up a bag. Whole lot of cash shit going on. I'm in my bag, running up a bag. Whole lot of cash shit going on. I'm in my bag, running up a bag. Whole lot of cash shit going on.